Okay, I would like to welcome everyone to the Grand Rapids Board of Education meeting. Today is Monday, September 15th, 2025. I would like to call this reconvened meeting to order. Prior to taking the roll, I am going to read a president's statement. I will probably read this again once we have more of an audience here. Forgive me, it is on my phone. Tonight we reconvene as a board, as colleagues, as neighbors, as educators, as parents, as people united by our community's children. Last week, Monday, we did not let that purpose lead us in our work. Last week, Monday, we let disruption, disorder, verbal outbursts, bullying tactics, yelling, and anger lead us away from the heart of why we are all here. I am ashamed that some of the students we serve were witnesses to that chaos. I regret that I did not take the steps needed as president to shut down disruption sooner. I regret the role my inaction had in leading to further bullying, degrading of our superintendent, staff, and board, and breakdown of our meeting. What happened on Monday is unacceptable and will not be tolerated at our board meetings. It's time for all of us to go back to the basics. The law, our policies, our board norms, and moral imperatives will help us set the stage for a productive meeting and for keeping our kids at the forefront of all we do. I've made sure copies of relative content are available tonight so that all of us can be informed of the truth in how we must and have agreed to run our board meetings. Let us all be reminded that a school board meeting is a meeting of the board in public. Public participation is limited to the public comment period. According to Open Meetings Act, a school board may establish public participation rules that assist in balancing the board's interest in conducting a meeting in an orderly manner with individuals' rights under the First Amendment. Last week, I allowed for too many people to shout out or try to engage in conversation outside of public comment. This disrupts our work and drags us off course. The Open Meetings Act also gives very clear guidelines for what a board may do when disorderly conduct takes place. If, during a meeting, a citizen engages in disorderly conduct or acts in a manner resulting in a breach of the peace, a school board may take steps to control the behavior or even remove the individual from the meeting. The revised school code permits the board president to order the removal of a citizen who, after notice from the president, persists to behave in a disorderly manner. This provision also empowers the president to order a law enforcement officer or other person to take the disorderly person into custody until the meeting is adjourned, if the person refuses to withdraw from the meeting. Further, the Michigan Penal Code states that a person is guilty of a misdemeanor if he or she makes or excites any disturbance or contention in any public meeting where citizens are peacefully and lawfully assembled. While I believe our board truly wants to hear from our community, we have not done a great job of setting boundaries as to what steps over the line into disruption. Let this serve as a notification that moving forward, if there are interruptions or disturbances, I will be giving warnings and asking people to be removed. This is well within my right according to MASB and the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act also allows this to be based on the president's discretion. I will not allow for our superintendent, her staff, or our board to be attacked with outbursts and insults. Everyone in this room has a right to feel physically and emotionally safe. I will also exercise my right to recess whenever necessary because of disruptions. When groups of people are cheering or clapping or shouting or even talking to each other, it's hard for us to focus on our meeting. I will simply recess when my asks for quiet or my gavel pounds are ignored. As you know, we have changed the place of our meeting to accommodate the larger attendance. We will plan to have all regular board meetings moved to Ottawa Hills for the foreseeable future. We will likely be moving the location of our work sessions as well. Other changes will be made as we plan to focus as a board on how to adjust and rethink our spaces, our procedures, and our policies in regard to board meetings. We will not accept a meeting like the one we experienced last week. Over the weekend, Mr. Rodney Brown made a post, and it really just hit the heart of what's been on my mind all week. He has agreed that I share part of his statement tonight. Grand Rapids Board of Education's moral imperative statements and operating norms' top 2 points are: every scholar will feel physically and emotionally safe regardless of which school they attend, and we will stay student-centered in all of our work. This is our charge. It's not optional. It's the heart of what it means to serve. We must stand together and actively discourage harmful rhetoric. We must commit ourselves to modeling what respectful disagreement looks like and to creating environments where every student, staff person, and our citizenry feels safe, seen, and valued. Sorry. The time to change is now. For our children, for our future. Hate has no dignity. There's no humanity in hate and no place for hatefulness in our school system. Those were Mr. Brown's words. We all want what is best for our children. The manner in which we work toward that goal matters. All of our words and actions are being listened to and watched by our future generation. Let us not let hostility and noise prevent us from doing the work needed to reach our goals. Thank you. Trustee Rodriguez, can you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Moreno.
Present.
Trustee Rodriguez is here. Trustee Williams.
Did you say Williams?
Yep.
Present.
Trustee Williamson.
Present.
Trustee Davis. Trustee Kilpatrick.
Present.
Trustee Melton.
Present.
VP Wade.
Present.
President Buchek.
Here.
We have a quorum.
The Grand Rapids Board of Education would like to correct a procedural error wherein the board adjourned in error rather than go into recess until the next scheduled board meeting. This has to be reflected in the September 8, 2025 minutes.
Yes. So I am moving to rescind the motion to adjourn adopted at the Grand Rapids Board of Education meeting on September 8th, 2025, and replace it with a motion to recess until September 15th, 2025, which is today's date, to a location to accommodate all individuals who want to participate during the meeting.
Do I have support?
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The board has additional business we need to do in closed session in regard to our ongoing negotiations with the Grand Rapids Education Association, as well as a legal opinion. Can I get a motion to amend the agenda to include a closed session, to include collective bargaining and a legal opinion?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Rodriguez, will you make that? And
Yeah.
then we'll, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll move to amend the agenda to include a closed session, including collective bargaining and a legal opinion. And then I'll take
Amber support.
Amber support. All right.
And we'll take the roll on that one.
Okay. All right. Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez, yes. Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Williamson?
Yes.
Trustee Davis? Yes. Trustee Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Trustee Melton?
Yes.
VP Wade?
Yes.
President Buchek?
Yes.
That motion passes.
Okay. And Trustee Rodriguez, can you make a motion to read us into closed session?
May I make a motion actually to approve the agenda as it has been amended?
Sure.
Can I get a second for that?
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That passes. Okay. So many votes. All right. So now I move that the board go into closed session for the purpose of a strategy and negotiation session connected with the negotiations of various collective bargaining groups at the request of the superintendent as permitted by the Open Meetings Act Section 81C and for the purpose of considering written legal opinion of counsel to the board, which opinion is exempt from disclosure under Section 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act. This closed session is called pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Section 81H. And I will have to do a roll call vote for that. Trustee Moreno?
Did we get a second?
Oh, excuse me, thank you. May I have your second?
Support.
Thank you. All right, Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez, yes. Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Williamson?
Yes.
Trustee Davis? Yes. Trustee Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Trustee Melton?
Yes.
VP Wade?
Yes.
President Buchek?
Yes.
That passes.
Okay, we'll move into closed session.
I read at recess, and I like doing math.
We've been learning math, reading, we've been doing PBL. It's been fun.
Good. Great program that we have going on. Students are learning, hands-on experiences, lots of field trips, project-based learning.
See, so those are both really good details.
Diatribe, having us do this kind of poem.
Heavy math, heavy reading, reinforcing what our scholars need to be successful as they enter into the next school year.
In our room, we're doing fiber arts.
Maybe you can use some of this.
WMCAT is one of those programs where it's very hands-on.
You would like poke stuff into it and you would like make cool flowers and native plants.
You can read about it, you can hear about it, but when you actually put your hands on it, it teaches you more in depth. It stays ingrained a lot longer.
That was really fun.
We need to have a place in a space for our scholars to continue to learn and grow over the summer, making sure that the summer loss is not incurring.
If people were just not doing math over the summer or reading and just playing video games, then they would forget most of this stuff.
It's an opportunity for me to come here and learn stuff.
That's just part of my leadership style. I'm very relational, I'm very interactive. Sometimes you're that nugget that they need to have in order to keep them motivated about coming to school.
Short, sound.
The teachers here, they're very nice.
Our scholars are learning, they're having fun, we're building meaningful relationships, they're able to socialize. It's been a great time.
It was a good day, and I did lots of things.
We are excited to have you here at Harrison Park Academy as we celebrate an incredible resource for our community and our school.
Catherine's Health Center is a nonprofit community health center, and we provide quality, compassionate, and affordable care to all. We believe that quality health care is a human right, and that access to care improves when we deliver services in trusted spaces like schools.
3, 2, 1.
We can't wait to see the impact this new health center will have. Here, scholars and community members between the ages of 3 and 21 years will have access to both medical and behavioral health services, regardless of the ability to pay.
Here at Harrison Park, one of our city's legendary learning institutions, you see the power of partnerships. Different organizations coming together to make a lasting impact on our community.
With this clinic, we are going to be removing critical barriers to students' learning. I'm so encouraged to know that in this clinic, we are also going to be treating students' health care needs the same above the neck as we do below the neck.
I can't stress enough the importance of these on the education of our kids, not just because it helps keep them in school, but also they are being exposed to a career pathway. They are right here with medical professionals every day. And if they happen to be curious, I'm sure they can just stop in and say hi.
Our strategic plan begins with the core value to meet the holistic needs of our scholars. Today's opening is another step toward that goal.
Good
Welcome
afternoon.
to
Thank
GRPS.
you. How are you doing?
Great, we're ready to get the school year going.
All right. What can we do to help? Do you have any assignments for us? I got people.
Pencils have to be sharpened.
As you're like getting ready and you've got your usual list, are you seeing, the concern when it comes to costs?
I was putting like hand sanitizer on my list today, and I was like, $40 for the big jug?
My favorite teacher was my second grade teacher.
I just want you to know that I have the capacity to live up to that. Okay?
I believe it. I believe it. Anything that you're concerned about or on the front of your mind as you think about all your kids coming into class?
Just ensuring that, we have all of the things that we need. Because when we're here, it's like a second home for the kids, right? So it requires lots of things to continue to manage from home to here.
That all students have everything that they need. That I'm able to meet all of their needs, like emotionally, financially, physically, everything. There's that unspoken desire for us too that we want to make sure they have those things because we don't want anyone to feel left out.
Are you nervous for middle school? A little bit? Yeah. It's gonna be just fine. You know what? Even at the age of 53, I can tell you, new things sometimes give me butterflies on occasion. You're gonna be great.
The drawers that need to be wiped out and installed back into their desk.
I think people take for granted the amount of personal resources that teachers put in to make their classroom work for their students. Teachers like you that make the big difference in all these little lives. So.
Thank you. We need those reminders.
Happy first day.
Everything went well.
Good. Glad to hear it. I am Dr. Roby, and I am just here to visit first grade on the first day of school to see all the great learning that you're doing. Hi, Mrs. Quimby.
Hi.
8th graders, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Like, that's a smile on the first day.
They're working on their first day of kindergarten crowns. They're doing a really good job using their whisper voices.
You guys are doing such a nice job.
We are looking at actually having more freshmen and more sophomores this year.
We're learning about our feelings on the first day of school. We have some nervous friends, some excited, and I think some that are just in between.
I add stuff to the classroom, and sometimes I take away.
What's something that you add to the classroom?
Smartness, because I know how to do math.
So you add your brilliance. I love that. And what's an example of something you take away?
I take away everything I learned.
Wanted to see some of our young people and how they're enjoying their new space. We are at Dickinson, and we are going to try out the new secure entrance. We're very excited about this. Thank you. That's very kind. Are you excited to be back in school? Yeah. All right.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
We just want you to have the very best school year. Wishing you all just the very best this year.
Welcome, everyone. We are back in open session. I just want to make note that reports and action items will take place first to move business of the district forward, and then we will move into public comment. I'm also going to make a statement I made at the beginning of the meeting, but now we have a lot more people here, so I'm going to reread that statement. Tonight, we reconvene as a board, as colleagues, as neighbors, as educators, as parents, as people united by our community's children. Last week, Monday, we did not let that purpose lead us in our work. Last week, Monday, we let disruption, disorder, verbal outbursts, bullying tactics, yelling, and anger lead us away from the heart of why we are all here. I am ashamed that some of the students we serve were witness to the chaos of that gathering. I regret that I did not take the steps needed as president to shut down disruption sooner. I regret the role my inaction had in leading to further bullying, degrading of our superintendent, staff, and board, and breakdown of our meeting. What happened on Monday is unacceptable and will not be tolerated at our board meetings. It is time for all of us to go back to the basics: the law, our policies, Our board norms and moral imperatives will help set the stage for a productive meeting and for keeping our kids at the forefront of all we do. I've made sure copies of relative content are available tonight so that all of us can be informed of the truth in how we must and have agreed to run our board meetings. Let us all be reminded that a school board meeting is a meeting of the board in public. Public participation is limited to the public comment period. According to the Open Meetings Act, a school board may establish public participation rules that assist in balancing the board's interest in conducting a meeting in an orderly manner with individuals' rights under the First Amendment. Last week, I allowed for too many people to shout out or try to engage in conversation outside of public comment. This disrupts our work and drags us off course. The Open Meetings Act also gives us very clear guidelines for what a board may do when disorderly conduct takes place. If, during a meeting, a citizen engages in disorderly conduct or acts in a manner resulting in a breach of the peace, a school board may take steps to control the behavior or even remove the individual from the meeting. The revised school code permits the board president to order the removal of a citizen who, after notice from the president, persists to behave in a disorderly manner. This provision also empowers the president to order a law enforcement officer or other person to take the disorderly person into custody until the meeting is adjourned if the person refuses to withdraw from the meeting. Further, the Michigan Penal Code states that a person is guilty of a misdemeanor if he or she makes or excites any disturbance or contention in any public meeting where citizens are peaceably and lawfully assembled. While I believe our board truly wants to hear from our community, we have not done a great job of setting boundaries as to what steps over the line into disruption. Let this serve as a notification that moving forward, if there are interruptions or disturbances, I will be giving warnings and asking people to be removed. This is well within my right according to MASB and the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act also allows this to be based on the president's discretion. I will not allow for our superintendent, her staff, or our board to be attacked with outbursts and insults. Everyone in this room has a right to feel physically and emotionally safe. I will also exercise my right to recess whenever necessary because of disruptions. When groups of people are cheering or clapping or shouting or even talking to each other, it's hard for us to focus on our meeting. We will simply recess when my asks for quiet or my gavel pounds are ignored. As you know, we have changed the place of our meeting to accommodate the larger attendance. We will plan to have all regular board meetings moved to Ottawa Hills for the foreseeable future. We will likely be moving the location of our work sessions as well. Other changes will be made as we plan to focus as a board on how to adjust and rethink our spaces, our procedures, and our policies in regard to board meetings. We will not accept a meeting like the one we experienced last week. Over the weekend, Mr. Rodney Brown made a post that really just touched what I had been thinking about all week, and so he allowed me to use some of his words. He said, Grand Rapids Board of Education's moral imperative statements and operating norms top 2 points are: every scholar will feel physically and emotionally safe regardless of which school they attend, and we will stay student-centered in all of our work. This is our charge. It's not optional. It's the heart of what it means to serve. We must stand together and actively discourage harmful rhetoric. We must commit ourselves to modeling what respectful disagreement looks like and to creating environments where every student, staff person, and our citizenry feels safe, seen, and valued. The time to change the culture is now. For our children, for our future. Hate has no dignity. There's no humanity in hate and no place for hatefulness in our school system. We all want what is best for our children. The manner in which we work toward that goal matters. All of our words and actions are being listened to and watched by our future generation. Let's not let hostility and noise prevent us from doing the work needed to reach our goals. Thank you. And now we will move forward in the agenda. Secretary's report.
Thank you. So we've got just two things. One is our Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for next week, September 22nd at 4:30 p.m. The location still is to be announced. And then our ad hoc facilities meeting is scheduled on October 13th at 5:30 p.m. and that location is also to be announced. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Committee chair reports. So I have the city board liaison report. We are still working out adjustments on the agreement of the joint use agreement. That's still in progress. We're still talking through that. We are still on track with partnering with the city for Stocking and Alexander being looked at, and they are now getting JLL on board with that as well, so we can have their input. We did talk about crosswalks and crossing guards, and help me out, committee members, but a lot of the discussion was that when recommendations for crossing guards and crosswalks are made to both the city and to GRPS, those recommendations are passed along to Mobile GR, who assesses the need in detail. So making the district and the city well aware of those places is perfectly fine, and then we pass it on to Mobile GR to further assess. And then our community's children gave us a report. Shannon Harris is the one that gives that report just about the Mayor's Youth Council, Kids Speak to College Through College, and Grow 1000. So that's about it. Finance Committee?
Yes. In Finance Committee, we are bringing forth a few action items that we'll see later on our agenda. But the committee did approve to move those forward to the full board. At our meeting, we discussed school district audit process, and we received some training about that. It was also, information was shared that in the last 5 or 6 years, which the information went back for, that GRPS has only received a minor ding in our audit process, and it was regarding the application for free and reduced lunches, and that there was a discrepancy between the income put at one part of the application and a different part of the application. And since that time, the district has put in measures to close the gap to make sure that doesn't happen again. But that was our only ding, and it was minor in the last 5 years. And then we just received some updates on state budgeting, but as you all know, we still haven't gotten that information, so it was speculative conversation for the most part. And that is what I have for finance.
Ad hoc?
Ad hoc. We had a update with regards to where JLL is, and that they have received all the necessary information that the district has, the board has requested the district to share with them. And excuse me, and there will be more to come as they get their footing and start making assessments and putting together a plan for the district. And then we also talked about briefly the joint use agreement, but you've already covered that, so our conversation was much the same, waiting to hear back from those involved and making to get additional updates as to how that conversation is going. And then lastly, we talked about the naming of buildings, and we were pretty pleased with our policy. The one policy change we discussed changing was that we wanted a consensus in if there was money being exchanged or a donation for the naming of a building, there we wanted there to be a particular time frame for which that will take place, and that also that would be laid out in the memorandum of understanding around the exchange of those dollars for the naming of a building for a specific amount of time. And then we just see general updates around the bond projects, and those are moving along well. We're ahead of schedule. Well, actually, we're mostly on schedule for everything. We got one project just a little bit behind that's going to be delayed till about January, and then we are under budget on a few of those, so that will allow us to try to address some of that other delayed maintenance that we have in some of our other buildings.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Before moving on to our action items, I will just make an announcement that once our action items are complete, so there are 3 action items, that will be when final public comment cards need to be turned in. Okay. The Peace Education Week resolution. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the purchasing agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the purchasing agenda?
So moved.
Second. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And acceptance of the GRPS PA wage reopener.
Oh no, they fixed it.
Motion to approve this?
So moved.
Do I have support? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Support.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, all public comment cards need to be in at this time. We will move into public comment. We do have some priority speakers, and those are the people who did not get a chance to speak before our meeting was recessed. So I will name those people first. I'm wondering if we could get someone to move the podium back, because I can't see the podium from sitting down. Could I get security or someone on staff to move that so that I can see speakers when they come up to the podium?
And they could come up to the table.
Thank you.
All right, so as they get that moved, I'm going to read us into public comment. There is one public comment section this evening on the agenda, which accommodates both agenda and non-agenda items. Each comment period is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless otherwise directed by the board president.
We will move to 2 because we
2
know we
minutes.
have plenty. Yep.
2 minutes. Individuals are kindly requested to fully complete the front of the comment card indicating the topic or topics they wish to address. If you're a scholar enrolled in GRPS, please note this next to your name on the card. Completed cards should be submitted in the designated bin. Our board assistant will collect them prior to final call. We ask that speakers refrain from making abusive or disrespectful statements about board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Should you have a complaint regarding a specific board member, employee, volunteer, or contractor, please utilize the appropriate process outlined in Board Policy 9450. Speakers will be invited to address the board one at a time. Before beginning your comment, please clearly state your name for the official minutes. I will be monitoring the time, that is 2 minutes again, ensuring each speaker adheres to the allotted time. You'll be asked to conclude your comments promptly when your time has expired. As we don't have a timer behind us here at Ottawa Hills, I will just be keeping time on my phone. And I'll give you a 1-minute warning. If you wish to, look up as you're making public comment, I'll just raise a card up here, so please keep an eye for that. Again, you have 2 minutes tonight. Board members do not respond during the public comment. All concerns will be forwarded to the appropriate staff for consideration. We value your input tonight, and thank you for sharing with us.
I would just like to add to that, because of the cheering and such between comments, I know it was hard for people to hear when I was announcing someone's name. To help with that, I'm going to name like 5 people at a time instead of 2. And then if you want to line up in the center aisle, that will help us move the public comment along. The ones from September 8 are in alphabetical order, if that helps you know kind of where you're at. So first up we have Jolene Andrews, followed by Dan Bieber, Allison Bloom, Kelsey Bobbledike, and Margie Cangelozzi.
Jolene Andrews. Is it on? I can tell. Yes.
I can barely hear you.
Jolene Andrews, Southwest Elementary. We keep on hearing that there's a teacher shortage everywhere, and that's why we have so many vacancies in GRPS. While I do know part of this to be true, there is a teacher shortage. The districts most affected are the ones that have poor working conditions and low salaries. Last weekend, I looked at job openings for every district in the county. I was only looking at certified teacher positions. Here is how many teaching positions each district had. Byron Center, 0. Cedar Springs, 0. East Grand Rapids, 0. Forest Hills, 0. Godfrey Lee, 0. Godwin Heights, 0. Kellogg'sville, 0. Kent City, 0. Northview, 0. Sparta, 0. Thornapple Kellogg, 0. Wyoming, 0. Caledonia, 1 part-time. Rockford, 1 part-time. Comstock Park, 1 special ed. Granville, 1 special ed. Lowell, 1 special ed. Kentwood, 2 special ed. Kennewa Hills, 2. GRPS, 56. The district reported 2 weeks ago that they had 36 classroom teacher vacancies, and according to the website, there are at least 20 more vacancies that require teacher certification. I know GRPS's first response will be that we have a bigger district, so we have more positions to fill. Clearly, we are not so much larger than the surrounding districts that we should have more than 25 times the number of teacher vacancies that they have. GRPS also falls back on the excuse of uncertainty of funding. All these districts face the same uncertainty, and most of them have figured out how to give raises anyway. This is clearly not a difference in the number of positions available or anything else. This is an issue of people choosing to work in other districts because they will receive better pay and better working conditions. GRPS can't afford to not pay its teachers better.
Dan Bieber.
Hi there. Is it possible that we use the computer and the projector to allow speakers to have a time so they can keep track? I'll keep track of myself, but just if we can do that, I think that'd be appreciated.
Trustee Rodriguez is keeping time.
Okay. But to have it displayed is usually, it's nice. I know you guys have it in the other one. I'll time myself, but hi there. Good evening, members of the board. Ooh, tippy. My name is Dan Bieber. I reside in the Millbrook neighborhood, and am the parent of 3 GRPS students. And with the reimagined GRPS plans to close several schools, including my local school, Sherwood Park Elementary, I'd like to remind you that the grounds there are far more than just property. They're a vital public asset to the neighbors in their area. Sherwood Park serves as my family's only walkable green space. If those grounds vanish behind fences or to private equity, my community, including my children, will lose their only accessible play space. I urge you guys to treat these grounds not as a commodity, but as a crucial public resource. Please preserve them for public use. Secondly, I want to address a deep concern that I had from last week, and that's of trust. I witnessed Dr. Roby leave the meeting in the midst of someone asking for them to be accountable. I could barely believe what I was seeing. There was no explanation given at the time. And while it might have been a simple faux pas, when a leader walks out, of course, trust is broken. And I think the turnout tonight is not a result of a deeply built trust. We need leadership strong enough for tough conversations, strong enough to communicate that they've fallen short. I want to trust this board, but I urge you, you've got to earn that trust through transparency, accountability, and a commitment followed by action to start providing appropriate funds to our teachers. Thank you.
Allison Blum.
Hi, my name is Allison Blum. I was a student teacher at Sibley Elementary in a kindergarten classroom last fall. Graduating in December, I subbed at Sibley throughout the remainder of the year, and I'm now a current long-term sub at Congress Elementary, 2 GRPS schools where I've been lucky enough to learn from amazing teachers and staff members in each building. There's a common theme between both GRPS schools I've been at: passion and dedication, and exhaustion and heartbreak. It was only after 3 months at Sibley Elementary when it became abundantly clear the shortcomings of the current system and how it fails to acknowledge that these teachers are in desperate need of immediate support. In learning this, I'm proud to say I started a nonprofit called BRIGHT, which stands for Building Resources and Inspiring Growth in Hardworking Teachers. I was inspired to create this by watching many GRPS employees not be able to live comfortably in order to support their students fully, taking money out of their own pockets to provide a comfortable classroom and not being paid nearly enough in return. You should be embarrassed that a 24-year-old fresh college graduate has not only identified these issues, but has already taken action towards creating a future where teachers are not only equipped with fully stocked classrooms, but are enabled to make the difference in the lives of GRPS students and move our community forward. Supporting our teachers should not be up for debate, and it certainly should not solely rely on the good nature of those in and around our community. I paused taking the next steps in my career to do your job. These teachers should never have to come here to prove their worth to you, because every student that I've seen walk out of their classroom with a higher intelligence and a desire to be a better person should be proof enough. Give these teachers a raise because they deserve it. Do better because they deserve better. I will continue to put my all into providing support for these wonderful teachers I've had the lucky opportunity of working with until they receive the appreciation that they deserve, because that's my choice. These are good people in front of you and extraordinary teachers. Do not let these students lose them. You have the choice. You have the potential to change their lives for the better. You don't have the potential to change their lives for the better. You have the power. Don't waste that. Thank you.
Kelsey Bobbledike.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Bobbledike. I'm a second-year teacher here at Ottawa Hills. I originally had something I was planning to speak on regarding an incident that happened here last year that I feel was really incorrectly reported on behalf of the board. But I'm realizing that I think my time up here might be better spent giving you a little bit of an idea of what some of your first, second, and third teachers are dealing with the pay that we are currently receiving. So I just wanted to give a little bit of insight into my personal life. I know that you guys have heard a lot of stories, and I think it would be crazy to think that the people that on the board haven't heard us. I know that you are hearing us. It's the action part that I think we're struggling with. It's hard to trust as a second-year teacher here. Anyway, so I'm really struggling financially now, and that's a really hard thing to come up here and admit to other people. I went to school for 5 years. I have an exorbitant amount of loans, and I often feel like I'm drowning despite living with 3 other people and sharing a home. It's really hard. It's really hard to share. 1 minute?
You have 1 minute left.
Oh, heard. Misunderstood. Anyway, really hard to live with other people as an adult who's trying to understand my space, but being in a position at school where I have to be the leader of 90 kids all the time. And then I come home to roommates and I come home to my bills. We got bed bugs a couple summers ago, and I was so lucky to have a higher paying job to be able to afford that. I cannot imagine getting bed bugs right now. It was like $2,000 to make sure they were eradicated. I get scared when my car breaks down because I know I'm not going to be able to afford it if something happens, and then I'm at the will of my wonderful community who are here to support me. I just want you to know that it's really hard, and I know that you guys know that and you're hearing that, but I hear it better. And I don't say that in like any sort of mean way, but I'm not seeing action, and so it's really hard to feel taken care of by my job, and I want that. I want to work here. I love my students, and I really enjoy it, but it's not practical for me, and I'm really suffering because of it. And I'm really hopeful that
That's time.
Okay, I'm really hopeful that you guys will be able to find a way to navigate this that shows us your care. Thank you.
Margie Cangalosi. Okay. Kelly DeBoer, Aaron Edens, Matt Harrison, Caitlin Holmwood, Yolanda Howe. Kelly DeBoer, Aaron Edens,
All right, hello, I'm Aaron Edens. Thank you, members of the board and Superintendent Roby. My wife is a GRPS teacher and has taught in 3 district schools since we relocated to Grand Rapids in 2019 for my job as faculty at GVSU. The concerns that I've heard so many other teachers express about lack of pay hit close to home for our family. My wife took a $16,000 pay cut when she moved here and has only recently caught up to the salary that she was making when she left her position in Minneapolis Public Schools. Buying a home in Grand Rapids was a huge challenge for us, and I know that affording a home in our city on a teacher's salary is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for many teachers. I also know that the district leadership can do better. Your teachers deserve better. Your teachers deserve more. Their working conditions are our students' learning conditions. I want to share a quick story about our daughter, a 4th grade GRPS student. This summer, she played softball in the Ted Raspberry League, and we spent most Tuesday and Thursday nights at city parks. It was a really wonderful experience. She made friends with kids from all over the city and at least 5 different GRPS schools. I saw a few other softball parents at the meeting last week, actually. Like my wife and I, those parents are committed to sending their kids to public schools in our city. But like us, they won't stick around in this district if things don't start to change. Those 4th and 5th graders from my daughter's softball team will graduate in 7 or 8 years. I want to know tonight what you will do to ensure that they not just stay here in this district, but thrive here. And I also want to remind you that as community members, we're going to continue to stand up for our teachers and for our students. Thank you.
That's time. Thank you.
Matt Harrison, Caitlin Holmwood,
My name is Matt Harrison. I teach here at Ottawa Hills. This is my 20th year in the teaching profession, and thinking about a number of things I'd like to discuss tonight, I try to boil it down to this. I fought overseas for my country in my youth. And now I'm fighting in my middle age for GRPS teachers and their students, especially those of us who are grinding here in the Southeast Side. I teach English literature and philosophy at the mighty Ottawa Hills, and I've been thinking about this all day and ask sincere reflection. 77% of teachers in the U.S. are women. Women in our country make 18% less than men in the same job. Teachers earn approximately 26% less than all other similarly degreed careers. A simple syllogistic conclusion. So if women are paid about 20% less than men for the same work, and the teaching profession consists of primarily women, then it makes sense that teachers are paid about 20% less than similarly educated career fields. Perhaps our struggle has as much to do with gender wage discrimination as it does with literal undervaluation of education as a whole. and I recognize the irony that I'm a man.
Caitlin Homewood, followed by Jolanda Howe.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Homewood, and I'm here today to express my deep concern about the chronic understaffing in the district's special education program specifically. Across the city, special education's classrooms are being run without fully certified teachers and adequately staffed teams that our children are legally entitled to. Cesar Chavez, 2 long-term subs in the place of certified special education teachers. There is 1 resource teacher and the other one is a long-term sub. 44 students affected. Sibley, there's a vacancy in their ASD self-contained program. Instead of 9 SEAs, special education aides, they have 3, 32 students affected. At Kent Hills, they have 4 SEA vacancies, 18 students affected. At Dickinson, there is 1 long-term sub in the place of a certified ASD special ed teacher, at least 30 students affected. Harrison Park Middle, the emotional impairment program is not staffed with a teacher or an SEA, 8 students affected. That's only 5 buildings I just named. And that is 132 students affected by our lack of staffing. How many more are there that are not being disclosed to parents and guardians? And this is not just a staffing problem, this is a civil rights issue. This is against the law, what we are doing. Students in our schools are being denied access to free appropriate public education under IDEA, and that's not only acceptable, it's literally illegal. So I am formally requesting that the board take 3 immediate actions. 1, conduct a full staffing audit across all special education classrooms and programs. 2, send a letter to every parent or guardian of a student receiving special education services, informing them whether or not their child has a certified special ed teacher and all required service providers according to their IEP. 3, increase educator pay so you can actually attract applicants and quality teachers to work with your most vulnerable student population. Students, parents, and guardians have rights, and this board has a responsibility to act. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jolanda Howe. My children attend Southwest Academia Bilingual Elementary and Middle High, a school that's incredibly impressive and that I'm grateful for. Every time there's a millage for GRPS, I vote in favor of it and urge others to do the same. That's my responsibility and our responsibility as a community. Your responsibility is to ensure that the money is used to hire certified teachers for every classroom in our district and to pay our incredible teachers the competitive wages they deserve so they'll remain at GRPS. We have done our part and we will continue to do that, but you haven't done your part. You have let our teachers' salaries fall to the very bottom of what King County teachers get paid. You have left money in the bank that belongs in the pockets of our teachers. You have left vacancies in classrooms and let students with long-term substitutes rather than qualified teachers. This is unacceptable. Our teachers deserve better, our scholars deserve better. I'm here to call you to do your part, to increase our teachers' salaries to match the top-paying schools in our county because they deserve it. Most of the teachers my children have had a master's degree, one even had a PhD. I don't speak Spanish, and neither does my husband. My kids do because of the diligent, patient, tireless work of their teachers who have opened up a whole new world of relationships to them by giving them a second language. This is community building, worldview shaping, soul work that our teachers are doing every single day. And they are so passionate about their work, so loyal to their students that they have remained in these roles for years, despite being paid less than their peers, despite the high cost of the education that they owe debts to. But our loyalty is not with our teachers. I didn't know our district was failing them so badly. I didn't know they could make $10,000 more teaching at nearby schools. It's hard for me to look them in the eye, knowing all that they sacrifice and all that they do for our kids.
That's time. Thank you.
Okay, Vanessa Jimenez, Jax Johnson, Marta Johnson, Meg Johnson, Mary Clausen, Jackie Landon. First up, Vanessa Jimenez. Jax Johnson. If you could please make your way to the middle if you heard your name. That way, once we're all in the middle, it'll speed things up a little.
I wrote this. It's a mistake.
Jax Johnson. Marta Johnson. Meg Johnson.
Hello, my name is Meg Johnson. I'm currently serving at Westwood Middle School. We call our children scholars, and yet the message that we send them when we show them that pursuing academics means barely being able to make a living. You cannot claim to put students first when you consistently put educators last. I want to begin by saying that what I will say will not be new information, but I believe an important reminder. I am a second-year teacher. I've seen rhetoric suggesting that teachers are paid as if they are simply babysitters. And when you do the math, that statement isn't exactly an exaggeration, it's reality. My salary as a young teacher in GRPS is $44,916 a year. That amount will not increase for several years, unlike in surrounding districts across West Michigan. If we as a district meet the required 180 instructional days, my salary breaks down to just $31.19 an hour. When you divide that across a capped classroom of 30 students, it comes out to $1.04 per student per hour. $1 for everything I do to educate, nurture, and prepare our next generation. I do want to acknowledge that teachers all over the United States face the same issue, but I did some snooping online and found that families in GR pay between $15 and $20 an hour per child for babysitting services. My salary doesn't reflect the countless hours I work beyond my contract school day hours. With just 1 hour of daily prep time, I spend more than 40 hours a week on meetings, grading, planning, and family communication, unpaid, but necessary to succeed as a teacher. As a young educator at the bottom of the pay scale, I feel forced to work at this level just to earn an effective rating, while also taking on supplemental jobs to make ends meet. A majority of my friends in the service industry without degrees earn about the same annual salary as I do. The only difference, I have a degree. I carry the responsibility of shaping lives, and I am forced to set strict boundaries around taking work home with me just to protect my time and health. My primary point in focusing on this information is that the least we could do to be done is to raise compensation to that of the level of other districts nearby for equity's sake. We as teachers—
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Clausen.
Good evening. My name is Mary Clausen, and I teach choir at Burton Middle School. I'm going to keep this towards the scope of music tonight, even though there's so many things to talk about. This year, our internal music festivals for band, orchestra, and choir are not being funded. These festivals gave music students crucial feedback before MSBOA and MSVMA events and directly improved their musicianship and success. Losing them lowers the quality of opportunities for all of our music students. In addition, MSVMA and MSBOA membership fees were shifted to the individual building budgets after the school year had begun. Our fine arts administrators and our principals are doing their best to adapt, but the reality is that the problem is coming from the top. When administrators receive double-digit raises, while programs, field trips, and basic transportation for those and for our most underrepresented communities are cut, it reinforces the systemic inequities and takes opportunities away from the students who need them most. Investing in our music is not an extra. It's investing in social and emotional learning. Music builds confidence, teamwork, resilience, and belonging, especially for our students who may not find those supports anywhere else. Our students deserve more opportunities, not fewer. I urge you to prioritize restoring funding for music and fine arts so that every student in every building can thrive. Thank you.
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158 1
Jackie Landon, Lisa Lee, Lucas Leverett, Chandra Madafari, Jen Magalski. Starting with Jackie Landon.
Hello, I'm Jackie Landon. GRPS has truly been the best experience for our family. The dedication, creativity, and the heart that the teachers bring to their work have made a lasting impact on our children. So many educators have gone above and beyond to inspire, support, and nurture our kids. And there's many teachers in here that do that, but one specific one I want to call out is Mrs. K. She not only raised the funds, but also led the creation of the beautiful butterfly garden at C.A. Frost, giving kindergartners a hands-on connection to nature. Through this project, she helped instill a sense of ownership, pride, and wonder in the natural world, something that continues to stay with our children to this day. Her passion and commitment have made a meaningful and lasting difference of our lives. But with all that incredible work teachers like Mrs. K are doing, there's a growing fear among families like ours that we'll lose these exceptional educators because they aren't being compensated in a way that reflects their impact. GRPS risks losing the very people who make GRPS schools like C.A. Frost so special, simply because they're not getting the support and pay they truly deserve. Spending millions on virtual teachers and relying too heavily on long-term substitutes isn't the answer. The solution is right in front of us. Investing in the dedicated, experienced, and passionate educators already in our schools, and creating the kind of compensation and support systems that will also attract new qualified teachers to the district. That's how we build strong, sustainable schools that truly serve our children. I urge you to reconsider the current offer and do better for our teachers. The future of our students and the strength of our public school system depends on it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Lee. I teach at Buchanan Elementary, early childhood special education. I want to talk about some of the feelings that we in my classroom have gone over and people in my building are feeling. They all happen to start with the letter A. The first A we're going to talk about is anxiety, which is a huge problem and which is a huge overwhelming emotion that we have, these people in this room. Anxiety of not knowing when we have to work, when we will be paid. Anxiety that HR can change how much, when, and how will we be paid without our consent. Anxiety over a new evaluation system that requires 3 observations on 1 to 3 year new teachers, creating a micromanaged time when they have no planning time and no time to do that. The second is anger, righteous anger over the fact that our kids in special education are getting a revolving door of substitute, unqualified teachers and understaffed support systems that make it unsafe for them. In this anger, I find that my parents are leaving the districts because they know that their children cannot stay in GRPS and receive a fair, appropriate public education in their least restrictive environments in compliance with their IEPs. The last one is apathy. The apathy that so many people before me have given up on this district because you have given up on us, funding us, supporting us. You said it is a right to be safe. Our scholars have a right to be safe. We have a right to be safe. And one of those was emotional safety.
That's time.
Thank
you.
Tonight I join others wearing red, but it's a Spider-Man shirt, highlighting the mantra that with great power comes great responsibility. You as a board are failing both. You don't seem to understand or flex your power in any way that counts, and you repeatedly fail to rise to occasions of your great responsibility. You have a responsibility to dismantle the corrupt practices and toxic systems ingrained in GRPS, and yet you've had almost all of 2025 to do it, and you've dragged your feet. What's holding you back? The same West Michigan nice I just ripped off of my mouth? You had the responsibility to produce an academic calendar for our educators and families, but embarrassingly, there hasn't been one. You have the responsibility to empower the voices of the people who elected you, and yet even those of you who made doing that a campaign promise have now presided over policy updates that take away our rights to address you. You have a responsibility to stop tolerating endless failures in transportation, but you sit by. You have a responsibility to drop the hammer on all the nepotism, yet it prevails. You have a responsibility not to reward mediocre executives with giant raises on top of their already outsized salaries, and instead you presided over making public education a home for wage disparity. You have a responsibility to pay our teachers what they deserve to be paid, and make all negotiations transparent and open to the public, as well as your full board. But in this story, you failed to be the heroes. This failing school system, these burnt out and underpaid teachers, and all the kids you like to hide behind when you're squashing dissent needed a hero, and you failed them. That tingle that you might feel, that's your spidey sense. And it's telling you that I'm right. And you fell short. Will you turn it around? Mr. Rodriguez, this is a very unstable podium, and I advised several minutes ago that it needed to be propped up. I'm sure there's an underpaid physics teacher in here that can explain this to you, but this probably should be fixed if you value the equipment and the order and decorum that it's supposed to deliver.
Thank you.
Chandra Madafri. Jen Migalski. Is Chandra here? Okay, next up is Zach Marshall, then Teresa McPherson, Beth Mayer Craft. There's a Jennifer who did not provide a last name. Cecil and Will Overland. Go ahead, Zach.
Hi, I'm Zach Marshall. I'm a proud public school parent, daughter of a 7th grader. She's been attending GRPS for the last 4 years since we moved to town. I value public schools because they serve everybody. But I've been disappointed. Every school my daughter's been at so far, and there's been 3, has had long-term subs. As a parent, I thought, must be the teacher shortage. But then I heard about this meeting and I thought I'd look up what teachers get paid. I was expecting the wages to be uncompetitive. I didn't expect them to not even be livable. GRPS is not paying teachers enough to live in Grand Rapids. They would literally have to leave the city, as you're hearing attested to tonight. You're probably aware housing values have doubled in the last 5 years. As somebody who moved to Grand Rapids in 2021, this is a reality. And so I want to appeal to you here, the board. I have a feeling you'll say a couple things. If we say, you've got the money, you just need to spend it, you might say, hey, we're not on the negotiating team, we just approve, okay? Second, not all money can just be used for anything, sure. Third, Michigan is kind of weird with funding schools. I get that. I can understand all that. I'm also going to wager that you did not join the board and run for election because you really wanted to uphold the status quo. I have a feeling you wanted to make some kind of positive difference, whatever you thought it was. So I hope you can hear me. There's no more positive difference you can make than by making teacher pay competitive. Without it, you'll continue to bleed teachers and bleed students. You'll have to keep consolidating schools as the enrollment drops. I'm going to think about you on count day this year. It's time to make a difference, which means you as the board are going to need to be creative. I'm going to ask that you call up the negotiating team and say, this is a priority. Don't approve a contract that's not a 10% raise. I have more to say, but I ran out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Roby and GRPS Board of Ed. My name is Teresa McPherson. I'm in my 5th year at North Park as a teacher. I started as a parapro in 2018, but first as a school of choice parent to GRPS at North Park in 2014 with our 3 children. We left Rockford Public Schools to come to Grand Rapids. After last Monday, I did a lot of reflection. I read and listened to some of Dr. Roby's early interviews. She's a strong leader and has worked very hard to get where she is today. I want that opportunity for my colleagues and ultimately for the children in our schools, our future. However, unless real, serious change is made immediately to GRPS's pay structure across the board in all types of positions, we will continue to lose great employees, not just teachers, and will continue to fail in recruitment and retention. Here's a personal example for you. A few years ago, a parapro in our building had her lights and heat turned off at Christmas time because she couldn't afford the bill. She left GRPS to find a job that could support her 2-year-old. She was a young mom working hard to get her life on track. I wish this parapro's journey upward could have been with GRPS. According to an interview in 2020, Dr. Roby lives by an important guiding principle that life's circumstances happen, and how do we prepare our young people for life's circumstances? This is very true. We all have our battles to fight, our stories to tell, and learning to persevere and overcome are life skills that all GRPS grads need. Well, this young mom I spoke of, she was a GRPS alumni. I guess we did our job. We prepared her to persevere at GRPS. She was in Loop, she moved her way up, she was a parapro. She loved all the children. She advocated for change. And she did what's best for her future, which was to ultimately leave GRPS for better.
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Beth, and I am a GRPS parent and resident. My husband, Dave Kraft, was the very first high school environmental science teacher at C.A. Frost Middle High School, where he taught for 7 years. When he started, his classroom cabinets were totally bare. He literally built that program from the ground up. He restored the school grounds with his students, planted native plants, and led camping and backpacking trips in the UP. He loved Frost. His colleagues, his principal, and especially his students. He had no plans to leave. But this year he did. Not because he wanted to leave, but because Northview Public Schools offered him a 19% pay increase. That was the difference between staying in GRPS at a school he loved or doing the responsible thing for our family. Meanwhile, here in GRPS, teachers are the lowest paid in the county. Many classrooms do not have certified teachers, and Franklin campus administrators are taking double-digit raises. That is backwards, and that is unacceptable. Our son is a 7th grader at City, and before that, he attended North Park Montessori. His teachers have been incredible, the reason he's thrived in school. But across GRPS, amazing teachers, like my husband, are being forced to make the same choice, leaving for districts that pay them what they deserve. I don't want to lose these great teachers, but I wouldn't blame them for going. And when you lose these great teachers, you will lose families. It's already happening. Your mission talks about excellence and attracting top talent. But you cannot achieve that if you refuse to invest in the people who make it possible. Please pay our teachers what they deserve.
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Jennifer here?
Hello, my name is Jennifer Cecil, and I am coming to talk to you today as one of those awesome new teachers that you want. So I teach a 1-2 split at Palmer. This is my 3rd year at GRPS. I had a whole different career before this where I ran a children's theater company. I'm everything you're trying to attract to your district. I'm energetic, I'm hardworking, I work my butt off. I love learning, and I'm learning like crazy. I'm becoming better every day. You can just ask my mentor. I'm diving headfirst into our new curriculum with UFly and Bridges. And I came to GRPS because I want to work for GRPS. I want to work with GRPS kids. And I'm so passionate about public education. But then I look at my paycheck. And I talk to my friends from other districts who say, you should come over to us. This would be your starting salary. And then I talk to my colleague who just left and is now being paid $17,000 more at a different district. You have no idea how many people are the same as me and literally this close to leaving. If you knew, you would be shaking in your boots. When admin do walkthroughs of our buildings, they have no concept of what's going on. No concept of how many kids are falling through the cracks in heartbreaking ways. And not because we're not doing our jobs, because you're not doing your job. Your job is to listen and then act. How do we tell our kids that actions speak louder than words? How do we teach them that when their own district can't even act to give them what they deserve, which is fairly paid teachers? So please don't send us any more emails about how valued we are and, oh, it's such a great new school year. Like, thank you so much. Because we're not listening, we're deleting them because we know you're not caring. And I'm ashamed that my children, you talk about shame. I'm ashamed that my children go to a district like this.
Thank you.
Will Oberlin?
Hi, my name's Will Overland. I use he, him. I teach at Union High School. I teach U.S. history to our cohort of multilingual language learners. This is my 2nd year in GRPS, but this is my 5th year teaching. I am here because I am tired. I am very tired and disappointed. I am tired of being overworked and underpaid. I'm tired of not being able to take pride in my job and my position and my work here because my salary is slowly putting me further into debt. I go above and beyond every day for my students. I put in as much time and energy as humanly possible, sometimes more so, to support and grow my students. I invite each and every single one of you to come to my classroom and come check it out, 232 over at Union High School. We do a lot of really good things. And I want you to ask yourself, are you not tired? Are you not tired of undervaluing your teachers? Are you not tired of providing mediocre educations to these scholars that you supposedly care so much about? Are you not tired of bleeding staff and bleeding students to these other districts around us? And are you not tired of being the laughingstock of Kent County? I invite you to come to my classroom. I invite you to come to Union and see the things that we do. And I ask you to pay me what I deserve. Pay us what we deserve, and then some more for all of this extra crap that you put us through.
Okay, Tiffany Pierce, Tara Robbins, Tim Russ, Amy Schickel, and Stephanie Shortell.
Hello, I'm Tiffany Pierce. Just get my notes out. Okay. So, 20 years ago, I was a GRPS graduate. And even back then, that's when the changes really started with merging schools together, and it was a big issue. We had way too many students to teacher ratio. We couldn't even, I went to Ottawa actually for the first year, and we had to be 3 or 4 students to a book because there wasn't enough books for us to take books home. I'm glad that you guys have gotten better as far as that goes, and we've gone paperless so the kids can access them online. However, there's a lot of other issues that are happening with the schools as well. For instance, like on the GRPS careers page, it shows that you guys have 180 vacancies. And then other districts may have maybe 3 to 4 vacancies. There's also an issue with all the long-term substitutes and them maybe not being all the way well-versed in what they're teaching. My daughter was a graduate of City High School, and thank goodness for programs like the No Boundaries, No Barriers with the Urban League, and Endless Opportunities, because without those types of programs, my daughter may not have passed because some of her teachers didn't even know how to help her with her work. So that's another issue. And then also, school lunches are kind of comparable to prison lunches. That's not nourishing their brains. You give out sack stuffers that have moldy food inside. That's not helping them either. For instance, I feel like security guards, coaches, school secretaries and deans, bus aides, crossing guards should all be included in your pay, and they should be paid properly. Also, when we think about even the sports, for instance, we have really good sports teams. However, Ottawa's track is full of glass and it's concrete, and it's really not conducive for the students to practice there. I think you guys should invest money in that as well, because
That's time.
Running on concrete causes shin splints.
All right, thank you.
My name is Tim Russ. I work for the Michigan Education Association. I've spent the last probably 12 years in and out of working with educators here at GRPS. I don't want to spend a lot of time on things that happened last week, but that was a problem. But I want to tell you why you have a shortage. It's very simple. Why you can't hire enough teachers, and why you expect children to learn without qualified teachers. First of all, if you were a teacher with a master's degree plus 30 and you worked in this school district for a 30-year career based on today's financial conditions in comparison to other districts, you would lose $213,000 over your career by staying in GRPS. That's the equivalent of about 72% of the cost of a median house. So you're asking teachers who stay in this district to give up a house. A whole frickin' house. That's what you're expecting them to do. You have to stop. You have to get it together, make radical changes to the district, and put instruction first. Until you have a qualified teacher in every classroom, you are not doing your job, period. Everything else doesn't matter until every child has a qualified teacher, period. If you spend 48 cents on a dollar on instruction compared to all the other districts spending over 58 cents on the dollar on instruction, it's obvious why you have problems. Because you don't prioritize the bond between teacher and student. The only thing that matters, and the only thing the state pays for, is the teacher and the student being bonded together. So make that the priority and fix it.
Is Tara Robbins here? Okay. Amy Schickel? Stephanie Shortell?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Stephanie Chartel. Thank you for your work. I'm a parent of 2 adult alums of GRPS who had amazing teachers here. I also volunteer quite a lot in GRPS, and I donate money through my small family foundation. My message is that teacher recruitment and retention in GRPS must be your highest priority. But I also have constructive criticism. You are so fortunate to have a community that is this invested. Receive this as a blessing without the little speeches of how bad we are. Okay, thanks. As a regular community member, I feel that this board and superintendent can do much better in showing respect to the teachers and community. My disagreement is not an attack. I disagree that the board acted appropriately last week, and I'm pretty mild-mannered. I was very disappointed that the board superintendent chose to research the Open Meetings Act by reading screens during community comments. Gaining trust by not doing this is low-hanging fruit, and you can do it. Thank you for doing this week. Demonstrating respect is extremely important, and it's your job. As a 25-year resident, I am struck that for whatever reason, the breakdown of trust that I'm seeing has happened on your watch. Your watch. And I expect that you will take responsibility for it. You must do better. Thank you very much.
Pamela Seals, Andrew John William Shawan, Carrie Shively, Dan Slachter, Is Pamela Seals here? Andrew John William, Carrie Shively.
Carrie Shively, standing here. Is that loud?
Go ahead, Carrie.
All right. Closer. Don't start my time yet. Okay. Carrie Shively, I'm a teacher at Palmer Elementary. I've been a teacher for Grand Rapids Public Schools for 27 years. I'm beyond proud of the work that I have done and the people that I have worked with. With that being said, there have been many times throughout my career when I have contemplated if I was able to continue teaching. But when I sit down to think about what else I would do, I can't imagine doing anything else. Unfortunately, the reasons that make me think about leaving education are things that are out of my control. While the majority of my evaluations since starting the Danielson rubric have been rated as highly effective, our brutal evaluation system has often left me feeling inadequate, while also taking an extensive amount of time from both me and my administrator to complete. Also, policies or requests made by upper administration that do not support me in the classroom but still take away time that I would use to plan and invest in my daily teaching. I've been very fortunate to be in a building that has an amazing principal and amazing staff that support each other and make each other better. This, unfortunately, is very unique within GRPS because of the constant changing of programs and turnover of both teaching staff and building level administration. It takes time to develop programs and relationships with fellow teachers, with the communities we are part of, and of course our students and families. Yet year after year, changes are made without us having a say and feeling like we have no control over the career that impacts so much of our lives. I currently work with a first-year teacher, and he is doing an amazing job, though it is an extremely difficult job, and the district makes many things even more difficult. I'm confused why we think he should stay in this district. After this year, if it would be financially better for him to go elsewhere. He wants to stay, but we are asking him to choose less money, work more days, and have little consistency or control over his career. I have no ability to make these changes being a teacher. The only thing we have left to do is request the school board step in.
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dan Slachter, and I just want to say, I know a lot of you because you've been in my classroom. Am I right? Shake your head yes. Those of you that have been in my room. I should be getting most of your heads, but no. Now, educators, are the kids the fun part of the job? Oh, I can't hear you. Yes, they are the fun part of the job. They're why we do what we do. Yes, I'm not wearing red. I'm wearing something from another place that I teach at, where we have a calendar for the next count of Mr. Dan. 1, 2, 3, 4 years. 4 years out, we have a calendar. We need a calendar. Families in Grand Rapids Public Schools deserve a calendar. Having a shared and mutually agreed upon calendar is essential for staying organized and connected and not having miscommunication. We know this. With everyone's schedules in one place, we are able to do what we need to do, and that is teach, educate, inspire. That's why we do what we do. Our GRPS families are incredible, but you're not treating them well by not having a calendar. How can they schedule doctor's appointments for their elderly father that they're taking care of? How can they schedule appointments with an immigration attorney?
That's
they
time.
Can't.
Thank you.
Lucas Southwell, Madison Stieber, Rachel Thone, Katie Torlalson Reagan.
My name is Lucas Southwell. I am a first-year teacher at Grand Rapids University Preparatory Academy. I'm the new 10th grade English and AP seminar teacher. Prior to that, I served as a both short-term and long-term sub in GRPS for the last 3 years. I am not just here on behalf of myself, but also my colleagues who could not make it here tonight, especially those colleagues who were here last week to voice their concerns, but could not make it as a result of us needing to reschedule this meeting as a result of the board failing to accommodate the public. Beyond that, I would also like to touch on what my colleagues have already touched on, and that is the ramifications of failing to properly pay our teachers. I love this district. It has been my dream of the last 3 years to be a fully certified teacher in it. I love our students, I love my colleagues, but we are bleeding teachers and we are bleeding students. The man whose job I took left this district for a $12,000 raise. We lost over the summer 3 highly qualified, highly skilled AP teachers at our school. Those are teachers whose training you paid for, and now some other district is reaping the benefit because you failed to properly invest in them in the long term. I saw firsthand as a long-term sub the debacle that was the Elevate K through 12 nonsense, where you decided to pay not for 1 qualified teacher, but rather 2 unqualified teachers, as if that would somehow make up the difference, as if that was a good long-term financial investment. Please understand, when you do not pay teachers, that hurts you in the long run financially. That is, maybe it helps your budget in the short term, but it will only result in higher costs and us bleeding students in the long term. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Madison Stieber, and I am a K-2 elementary autism teacher at Sibley. I want to start by saying I do not envy the position that any of you are in currently or were in on Monday. I think about after all of these testimonies, it sounds like a broken record when it's constantly talked about our inefficient pay, the disproportionate allocation of funds, and the general mistreatment of teachers. It gets like a broken record, but we will not stop until our students are served properly and teachers are taken care of despite GRPS's poor decision making. Allow me to share a story. Recently, I was at a family event where I heard my mother doting and praising my career and how proud she was of me to be a teacher, but how she genuinely worried about how teachers are treated at GRPS. This caused me to do an inventory of my current bills against what I make as a third-year special education teacher with a master's degree. I could not teach at GRPS if it weren't for my family. I could not teach here if it were not for my parents. Both of my parents are retired and should be fully enjoying the funds of their hard work that they have worked for their entire lives, but instead, they are personally allowing me to work at GRPS by covering things that I cannot cover, such as my car payment, my insurance, my phone, and among other things. Let me be clear again. The reason I am able to work at GRPS is because of my family at home. The reason I stay is for my Sibley Familia. Our ASD team is trauma bonded through no lunch breaks, no planning periods, the ongoing struggles of criminally low pay, inequitable resources, but most importantly, we are bonded through the love for our students and for our craft. I am now currently in a place where I want to be here. I want to work with my, thank you.
Hello, my name is Rachel Toon, and I'm a special education resource teacher. I choose to speak today and echo what my former mentor teacher, Kate Homewood, said earlier. We currently have 4 self-contained ASD classrooms and an ECSE classroom. You just heard from one of our ASD classroom teachers. These classrooms account for 9 special education assistants. We currently have 3 employed. 3. How unsafe is it that our most vulnerable students have the least amount of support in our building? Myself, our other resource teacher, and any other support staff within our building receive multiple messages a day asking to help support these classrooms if we have the time, which we usually don't. Thankfully, we have fully staffed related service providers, which include social workers, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists, although all of them are at the top end of their caseload limit if they aren't over the limit already. However, between us as the resource teachers, behavior specialists, youth advocates, mental health clinicians, we have approximately 115 students of our own to support outside of our ASD programming. That's 37% of our school receiving Tier 2 behavior interventions and supports, or the legal Tier 3 special education resource programming students are entitled to. When we choose to help support our ASD programs over our own kids, 37% of the students at our schools suffer. While I'd like to argue that our special education team and our school is one of the best in the district, we cannot operate efficiently and to the best of our ability when we have our special education programming this understaffed. Not only do our most vulnerable students suffer, but our whole school suffers. If you aren't going to hire special educational aides at a competitive wage to work in our buildings, then like you visited Dan Slagner's classroom, maybe you or one of the other 300 non-instructional people who work for the district should come and help out in our ASD classrooms to see why this competitive wage is imperative.
That's time. Thank you.
We are stretched so thin that soon we will break if we haven't already.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katie Torkelson-Regan, and I'm a science teacher at Grand Rapids Public Museum High School. I moved to Grand Rapids in January from across the state. I specifically wanted to teach at Museum High, and I'm so grateful that I'm here. I love this school. The scholars, the staff, the administration are truly incredible. I want to be at the school for the long run. However, in order to work for this district, I took a $25,000 pay cut. I make less now as an 8th-year teacher with a master's degree than I did as a first-year teacher in a different district. I teach more preps, I have more students, and I work more days than before. It's hard to justify staying here when every other district in the area compensates their teachers more fairly. In addition to being a teacher in the district, I'm also a parent. Soon my family will be looking for schools for my little one. I want to say without hesitation that I will send him to GRPS, but I can't do that right now. Teacher turnover in GRPS is the first thing that other parents mention to me when they tell me about their experience with the district. I do not know of a single family in my neighborhood who has continued with GRPS after a few years, and they all specifically mention stories of their child having 2 or 3 teachers or subs over the course of a year. Then this is at both neighborhood and theme schools. This is a universal problem. I won't accept that for my son, and no family should accept that. Teachers are the foundation of a good education and the face of the district for families. If good teachers leave, families leave, or they won't even come here in the first place. And teachers here are leaving because they are not being treated or compensated fairly. Again, I want to remain committed to this district as a teacher, and I want to be in this district as a parent. I want to stay here, I want to send my son here, and I want this district to be a place that every single scholar in GRPS and the surrounding area feels welcome in, and teacher retention is the absolute key foundational part of that. You, the board, can change that by agreeing to increasing teacher salaries and adjusting our calendar so that it is in line with other districts in the area. Thank you.
Christina Vandermeer, Erica Van Dyke, Betsy Van Kloppenberg, Nick Voigt, Christy Wayman.
Before I get into the meat of my public comment, I really have to address the president's opening statement real quick. So you said in your opening statement that you regret that students witnessed disorder in the last board meeting. I didn't witness it because I was in the hallway because you didn't have room for everybody, but I'll take your word. But what about the disorder and disruption our students are experiencing in classrooms without teachers? Do you remember the general vibe of a classroom with a substitute teacher? Because it's not exactly an environment full of order and decorum. Just some food for thought. So I know everyone is worried about the budget and about state funding cuts, and I'm just here as a community member and fellow Kent County educator. I'm not on the negotiating team, so I won't rehash all the math you've been presented with over the long months of negotiations. The plans and suggestions that they've made about how you can better prioritize your budget, about selling off school buildings, about moving the math around. I won't rehash that what your teachers are asking for doesn't even bring them up. It's not exorbitant, right? I mean, it barely brings them up to the low end of the district average. So understand that there's already a compromise here. I want to choose to believe that you want to find a solution. I choose to believe that this is not an us versus them situation. I choose to believe that you are maybe operating out of fear that the books won't balance, and you don't want to be the board where the books went into the red. But none of your teachers want to be operating without being able to pay their bills. They're all figuring out how to make it work with a much tighter budget constraint than what Dr. Roby is working with, and they're still paying for supplies for their own classrooms, and food and snacks for their kids. They're students, not their own children, by the way. I want to urge you to act with courage, and I want you to look behind me. The community came out last week in more numbers than you could handle and accommodate. We will come out again. We came out again this week. We will continue to come out week after week until and after your teachers have a fair contract. My responsibility to our community does not end there. Please act with courage. I have like 2 more paragraphs, but that's fine. We're going to continue to support. Use that support.
Hi, Dr. Roby and board members. My name is Erica Van Dyke, and I serve on the Education Justice team at Urban Core Collective. I'm here in solidarity with the educators who continue to advocate for improved pay, and I support calls for reimagining our budget to ensure that educators are able to focus their attention on their students. We know that teacher working conditions are student learning conditions. I'm also here to share again about the Invest in My Kids ballot initiative. By adding a 5% tax surcharge to annual income above $500,000 for individuals or $1 million for couples, this initiative will raise more than $1 billion annually for schools across Michigan, including here in Grand Rapids. This tax surcharge will impact less than 2% of the population in Michigan. These funds are to be allocated to local classrooms, supporting critical things like career and technical education, reducing class sizes, and recruiting and retaining teachers. Based on what we keep hearing from our educators, I suspect that having additional funds to increase teacher pay here in the district would be a way to retain these critical members of the GRPS community. I invite those of you who haven't met with us yet to do so as soon as possible so we can share more about Invest in My Kids. I'm also here to encourage you to consider passing a resolution in support of this initiative. We continue to hear that the district is pressed for funds, and this initiative is a direct response to those concerns. I recognize that it can feel demoralizing to constantly hear frustration from folks you're here to serve. This is a solutions-based response that I hope you can support. And finally, if you haven't already, I invite you, all of you as well here in the room, to stop by my seat at the end of this meeting and sign the Invest in My Kids petition. District and board member support is critical and time is of the essence. Last week it was 157 more days to collect some 700,000 signatures across the state to get this issue on the ballot in November 2026. Anyone registered to vote in the state of Michigan can sign, and by doing so, you're helping to work towards the beginning of supports for both our educators and our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Betsy Van Klompenberg here?
Good evening. My name is Betsy Van Klompenberg. I'm a parent of 2 students in the district. And I want the administration and the board to know and understand that GRPS parents support their teachers. Not long ago, I voted in support of the millage to reimagine our facilities throughout the district. But can we reimagine our district to be the premier, most attractive district in West Michigan for teachers? A desirable destination for top talent? Certainly there are savings that came along with that millage that we passed. In order to be high achieving, schools need a consistent, stable, efficient, and effective team of teachers, a strong community. High turnover is detrimental to student success. We call our students scholars, but it has been well publicized and talked about here tonight that we pay their educators thousands less than teachers make in surrounding districts. What does that say about us? What does that say about our kids? What does that say about our priorities? Please consider Occam's razor. Let's look at the simplest solution. What is the most obvious solution here? It is right in front of us. Everybody here is asking. Please pay our teachers. Do not rob our kids. Please pay our teachers a fair wage and give them a fair contract now. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nick Voigt. I am a second-year teacher with GRPS. This is my 8th year in education. I teach K-12 music and orchestra at GR Ford and also Ottawa Hills High School. Last year, when I was new to the district, I was appalled when I learned that a long-term sub was teaching our 8th graders because the position was not filled. I distinctly remember my immediate thought being, there's no way that this is acceptable, right? And I wondered why parents of those students weren't contacting the school or the district about it. Now, being in the district for another year, I know it's not only an accepted, but planned practice to fill our numerous vacancies with long-term substitutes and then call that adequate education. You say, well, all of our subs are certified. In no way does a certified sub equal a quality teacher. This amount of vacancies in a district isn't normal, and it signifies an institutional problem which the board and district leadership are fully responsible for. For context, I looked at a few similar school districts in size and population within the state. I'll be quick. Lansing Public, 30 certified instructional vacancies, 138 total vacancies. Also the only district in Michigan that spends less on instructional resources than we do. Kalamazoo Public, 11 certified, 38 total. Muskegon Public, 10 certified, 21 total. Kentwood Public, 3 certified, 24 vacancies. And just for fun, Detroit Public, 53,000 students, 108 buildings, only 29 certified positions, and 74 total vacancies. In comparison, as of this afternoon, Grand Rapids HR website, we have 50 open instructional positions, 162 total vacancies. By not putting structures in place to attract, but more importantly, retain educators, every single one of you sitting there directly causes harm to our students and our families. Every single one of you that is sitting there. I acknowledge it's uncomfortable to have so many people coming at you from all sides, but how uncomfortable must it be for our students and our families to not have consistency with their education?
That's time. Thank you.
My name is Christy Wayman. I teach kindergarten at Southwest Elementary Academia Bilingüe. I've been teaching with Grand Rapids for 29 years. When our last contract was finalized in 2022, there was a very important piece left unresolved. That's elementary planning time. GREA agreed that we would work with GRPS and we'd continue to bargain this crucial issue, and so I joined that committee to address that. And we gathered data from other elementary schools in our district as well as other schools across the county. In 2023, we put together a proposal and we presented it, but 3 years later, here we are, and there's been no progress, no answers, no extra planning time, no extra specials, no extended classes for our students, and despite the promise that this was going to happen and be resolved during that contract time in 2022. So, across Kent County, the average teacher gets 250 minutes of planning time per week. This time supports the teacher, gives them adequate time to plan quality lessons, but it also gives those students access to classes like STEM or E-Lab, language classes, extra art time, music, or PE time. But our teachers and our students only get 123 minutes a week for art, music, and PE. Nothing special. That's a difference of 127 minutes over 2 hours weekly. The district thinks giving us financial compensation for lack of planning time is adequate, but it's not. They're only offering maybe $200 more in the next contract, and they're also offering a measly 27 minutes of weekly planning time additional for the next contract, but that would still be 100 minutes short of what the colleagues in other districts have. Honestly, I need more time in my classroom to plan. We've been expected to teach a new math and a reading curriculum, and no additional time to plan them. I'm asking you, please, give us more time in our new contract. Both our teachers and our students deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mariah Welch, Aaron Wisner.
My name is Mariah Welch, a former CA Frost teacher and Sibley parent. The last time I spoke at a board meeting was March 3rd, the day my husband lost his job. This summer, while teaching at Southwest, I sat with my budget and realized that without a meaningful wage increase, my family of 4 could not pay our bills. A Leap of Faith application to Northview turned into a $16,000 raise. That offer confirmed what many teachers already know. 1, GRPS wages for teachers and staff do not even compare to neighboring districts. And 2, our hard work will be recognized elsewhere. But money is not the only issue. In fact, the true problem is that we are losing students by the hundreds every year. And why are students leaving? They are leaving because of the lack of safety. They are leaving because of what some have referred to as an abusive relationship. The relationship of power and fear created between principals and central office has led to a mass exodus of principals who have become middle management, forced to answer to executive directors instead of being allowed to lead. My own principal sat in his office with our quadrant leader for hours trying to convince him that I was traumatized by a student exposing themselves to me and my class. That student came back to school, that student reoffended. My former principal and I no longer work for GRPS. On paper, I left for the money, but in reality, being back on a GRPS campus feels like a squeeze around my windpipe. It is hard to breathe, thinking about the lack of safety my former students and coworkers have, let alone my own daughter. July 2nd, before applying elsewhere, I emailed the board several low-cost ways that could support teachers without increasing their salary. I got no response, so I will give a short list here. Eliminate the quadrant leader position. It is redundant and shows a lack of trust in the principals that you have hired. Child care partnerships would be nice. Summer stipends, gym discounts, paid paternal leave, a basic needs pantry, more recognition. And Dr. Roby, who says you have to take a pay increase this year? Dr. Roby, no one cares about the technicalities of your raise. What stakeholders see as a superintendent making more than the governor of Michigan while teachers struggle to buy diapers. The hard truth is that the lack of student enrollment is leading to an inability to dramatically change the budget. Students are leaving the district because it is unsafe, filled with nepotism and intimidation, and has protected people for far too long who are now working for the best interests of our students. Peace, I'm out.
Aaron Wisner.
Well, wow, that was something. You know, I came back to teach after being retired for 5 years. My name's Aaron Wiesner. I'm teaching money class just around the corner over there to the seniors. Whew, I would not recommend they go into teaching in GRPS, I gotta tell you that. Once they figure out how much they gotta save up for bills and cars and house and retirement and something, they're gonna be like, there's no way you could do that. So where'd money go? Well, as Tim pointed out, the district is spending less than half of its money on teachers, less than half. In most districts, it's about 60%, 62%, and that's including retirement, insurance, all the stuff. You just add up how much does a teacher cost. Like the first year teachers here, $45,000, something like that. You add even insurance and something, and maybe they cost the district $60,000 or something like that. So how much is that? The difference between 48% going into the classroom as teachers and 60%. Well, that's $31 million. 31. That's 31 days in a month. 31 days in a month, right? $31 million. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to find $31 million. And how do we do that? Well, the board passes a motion that the superintendent find $31 million to cut out of non-teachers, non-classroom, and then that frees up the money. Now, where is that money going? Well, I heard something right now about some redundant levels of management, and I'm not going to suggest anything because that's what the superintendent's there for. But that's where the money's going. Oh, and the salary schedule, worst salary schedule ever. We heard earlier that somebody is in the district 9 years. They've only went up 3 steps. That's crazy. The teacher should be going up a step every single year. Whew. I have a lot more to say, but that's enough for now.
Okay, we will move into our students who filled out public comment cards tonight. Elizabeth Stambaugh, followed by Grant Strauss.
gosh. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Stambaugh. I'm a 2025 graduate from City and a registered voter here in Grand Rapids. My mom is a single mom, and she is my sole support. She has been a GRPS high school teacher for the last 4 years. Growing up with a single mother on a teacher's salary has never been easy, especially considering the fact that I am a type 1 diabetic and have been for the last 13 years. I need medical supplies and insulin to survive. I watch my mom work herself to the bone every single day, but every year health insurance costs go up, and it feels like we're always fighting just to afford the medicine that keeps me alive. In the 4 years of her working at GRPS, the complications of my disease have been a challenge because of the district's choice to keep increasing the cost of the choice to keep decreasing the cost of medical coverage that they will cover, and instead of picking plans that could reduce the actual cost of medicine for someone like me. The stress I see on my mother's face when she pays the medical bills is indescribable. I have to watch her choose between making memories with her daughter, whether that be small trips or events, or keeping her daughter alive. I know she would do anything for me, but I also know that no family should have to choose between money and health. No child should feel guilty for needing the medicine that keeps them alive, and no organization should continually harm its employees to offset their redundant costs. All I am asking is to live and not just survive. My family and families like mine deserve lower costs, medical coverage, and a better future. Your lack of care does not make me feel physically safe, as your actions have direct consequences on my life and care. Do better, GRPS, for your students and your staff. Thank you.
Grant Strauss, followed by Corey Gendikovs, CA Frost student. How about Anna Gentrikovs? Rudy as well? Iris? Oscar Howe? Sophie Howe?
Buenas tardes, me llamo Sophie y voy a Southwest Academia Bilingüe Middle High. Estoy aquí porque no es justo. I repeat, this isn't fair. I have wonderful teachers at Southwest, and they work their heart out every day to make sure we get the education we need, even though they don't get paid what they deserve. I'm asking you to raise their pay so they can stay at Southwest without feeling the fear that they won't make enough to support themselves. The teachers at Southwest are the best teachers in the world. For example, my 5th grade teacher went out of her way every day to sell snacks after school so we could raise money to go on field trips. My 7th grade STEM teacher would make sure to look everywhere to find field trips that tie into what we were learning. This year, in 8th grade, already my math teacher has started getting to school early in the morning and staying late to answer our questions and help us succeed. As you walk through the halls of Southwest, every teacher will wave, say hello, and acknowledge you. That's because at Southwest, us students form an unbreakable bond with the teachers. And that's why I'm here tonight, to stand up for all my teachers. I started in Southwest in kindergarten, and I want to be there all the way in through high school. And I want my teachers to be right there beside me. Con respeto, gracias.
Is Oscar here? Okay. Eric Brown, followed by Daniel Shute.
Good evening. First, I want to say that my name is Eric Brown, President and CEO of the Urban League of West Michigan. First thing I want to say tonight is that we're in full support of teachers making more money, and we're in support of them advocating in the right way for them to get paid what they need to get paid. I just want to bring to light real quick, 250 years worth of a country, 12 to 13 generations worth of a country and a government that has not been interested in the education of the most vulnerable of us for this whole period of time. Unfortunately, because of that, we all know about Plessy versus Ferguson. We're familiar with Brown versus Board of Education. We're familiar with the provisions in the Civil Rights Act around education, all these unfunded mandates that have been spoken of. These are all things that are on you guys' laps and in the laps of our teachers to have to deal with now. I'll park real quick for a second of 1994. This might not resonate as much as those other dates, but in 1994, Michigan passed Proposal A that codified inequities in school funding that gives boards the challenge of trying to be able to provide equal education to the most vulnerable. It was codified into law to make everything more difficult so that the most vulnerable of us do not receive the education that we need to receive. So again, once again, I'm in support. Am I at 1 minute yet? Close to?
Yeah, 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left? Okay. So I'm in support of teachers making more, but I am not in support of forums where vulgar language, expletives are being hurled at the board, where people are where our students are present and they have to leave because they don't feel safe in experiencing their first time here. So how we advocate for those things is the responsibility of the board. So Madam President, I appreciate your comment of earlier today, and I hope the rest of the board was paying attention because you guys are all responsible to make sure this is a safe environment for our community, and looking forward to that. And we all have our own responsibility. I encourage you guys to continue your good faith negotiation, but let's think about things about negotiating benefits as well, and also think about that person across from the table, created in the image of God just like you.
Thank you.
Daniel Shute, followed by Jane Neiman.
Yes, my name is Daniel Scott, 40-year resident of the city. Now I know why the Lord leads me to pray for you every day. I can see you need prayer. If any of you have a personal prayer request that you want to give to me, I'll be happy to lift that up to the Lord for you. Well, I've seen the decline over these 40 years of the GRPS, and the solution is simple. Bring back the Holy Scriptures. Yes, bring back the Holy Scriptures. Think back to when it was allowed in GRPS and how you prospered. The schools prospered. God is going to cut off the funds because of the garbage that is taught. To teach evolution, by the way, that's a religion. Scripture says God created the heavens and the earth. And if you teach children that they came from animals, they will act like animals. Scripture says God made man and woman, two genders. Stop teaching anything else. If you want God's blessing,
I'm not comfortable with
teach
these comments.
His truth. Bring back the Holy Scriptures. Crime will go down. Education efficiency will go up. In fact, teach them to read the Bible. If they learn to read the Bible, they will read much better because God will bless them for that. Don't tell me to separate church and state. You're already teaching religion. It's called atheism and humanism. That is a religion. Teach about Jesus. Jesus, who died for our sins, that we might have eternal life. And this book
That's time.
tells everyone how to live.
Thank you.
That's time.
Thank you.
Do we have a speaker that didn't? Okay. Who do we have?
Daniel Kraft.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Danny Kraft. I go to City and I'm a 7th grader. My previous teachers at my old school, North Park Montessori, were the best teachers I've ever had. Take example, Miss Ettinger over there. She works so hard to make kids learn and make kids happy. And she teaches 3 grades at once because it's a Montessori school. And, sometimes there's kids who are just above grade level and they need better education. And Miss Ettinger teaches that, and sometimes she has to teach 5 grade levels, which I think is great if you can do that. Also, my dad, he is a great teacher, but he had to leave because Northview was offering a 19% pay raise. That is just not acceptable if you're a GRPS. You're always talking about how GRPS is my choice. My choice is to give the teachers more money. Thank you.
Jane Neiman, followed by Rebecca Beltran.
Good evening, my name is Jane Neiman. I'm the Vice President of GREA and a teacher at Union High School. First of all, I second so much of what was said tonight, and I have been saying similar things for the last 2 years in my tenure as Vice President at GREA, and I hope that you are listening because it is awesome to hear these parents and students speak up and out on behalf of their teachers. I saw some things scrolling across the screen. I wasn't inside the board meeting last Monday because I gave my space to someone else and was in the lobby. I felt like you had heard me enough, and I thought it was time for other people to speak out, and they did. And I'm very proud of them and very happy that they are here. Your number 3 on your moral imperative statement says, every scholar will have a quality teacher. Moral imperative are the key words there, I think, on that slide. And I'm just wondering if we're actually holding to that statement. I also thought it ironic that I received 4 emails today about nepotism, staff advisory policies, vector videos, which, by the way, a whole bunch of teachers did their GNCs because nobody bothered to tell them that they shouldn't do those. So that's going to be a fun conversation that I have with Michelle Dexter in the next week. But I also found the 4th one ironic because it said, make sure you're familiar with your bargaining agreement. GRPS this fall violated the bargaining agreement by paying teachers wrongfully against the contract language, by not paying them equally in 21 or 26 pays. I have principals who don't know the bargaining agreement. I don't think it's just teachers that need to know their bargaining agreement, and I know many don't read it because they don't have time, but that's why we're here. But I also think it's important for the district to know that agreement as well and to hold to it. Evaluation was given out today, the guidebook, once again, totally unfair. Our ESL teachers are going to be graded based on the entire district-wide data. How is that fair? Will Overland, the young man who spoke today, is going to be graded on the entire district. He's an awesome teacher. He is highly effective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca Beltran, followed by Bryn Dyka.
I'm back. Hello, my name is Rebecca Beltran. I am again the daughter of an immigrant, and on the eve of the Day of National Independence of Mexico, I am here fighting for my rights once again. I want to stay in GRPS. I fell in love with this community, the community of Grand Rapids, because I'm from the south suburbs of Chicago. I fell in love when I went to Aquinas and was able to work in the GRPS schools. I volunteered at Cesar Chavez. I volunteered at Alger. I was a long-term sub at City. I was a student teacher at City. I worked at Ottawa last year. I work at City this year. I love my job. Let me catch where I am. I have friends who wanted to be here tonight. They couldn't. They're working a second job. I have friends who couldn't join the union. They couldn't. $100 was too much a month. How is that fair? How is that right? I have been through 2 years of professional development in GRPS, and I have seen career educators come from GRPS into these PDs. They tell us, oh, I love working at GRPS. I love being a GRPS teacher. I want to love being a GRPS teacher. I want to be a career educator in GRPS. Why are you pushing me out? Why are you not giving me the opportunity to stay? I love my students. Some of you are their parents. You know I love my students. I love the work I do. I love my job. I wake up every day with a smile on my face, so excited to go in. I love my kids. I can't stay here if I'm making $10,000 less than other districts. My brother just started in CPS, $71,000 a year. I'm making half of that. I'm gonna have a master's degree and I'm still gonna be making half of that. Please, look at me and tell me I deserve that. So I just have one question this week. I want to stay in GRPS. I'm begging you, please let me stay in GRPS. I love my students. So why are you pushing me out? That's all I got.
Bryn Dyka, followed by Tanya Ettinger.
Hi, my name is Bryn Dyka, and this is my 3rd school year in GRPS. I know you've heard many stories about teachers leaving the district for better paying jobs in the suburbs, but my story is the opposite, and I wanted to share it with you. Before coming here, I taught in Zeeland Public Schools for 11 years. Same school, same classroom even. My job was very stable and steady. Of course, the students kept things interesting, but the trust and respect I had from my district and leadership was never questioned. One moment from the beginning of my career in Zeeland that I will never forget was when we were given key cards to unlock our building. The superintendent himself reiterated that the reason they are able to track who enters the building was for our own safety, not for security reasons or due to a blatant lack of trust, but for us and our safety. That made an impact on me. However, as nice as Zeeland was in a lot of ways, it didn't feel like me. After the pandemic, having 2 babies and a lot of thought, I pursued GRPS, and I didn't give up until I was hired in my dream job. Within the first month in my new school here at GRPS, I felt at home. I've never felt so comfortable in a new place as I did at CA Frost. The staff, students, and families quickly became dear to my heart. I have often said it's a good thing I love it here because otherwise I might hate it here. Working in this district, I am dismayed at the lack of trust and respect for teachers, including the GREA. I am distraught at the lack of pay raises over the years. I am embarrassed at the way our district is viewed by the county as we have the lowest teacher pay and cannot even seem to bargain a fair contract. On that note, if I had to choose one thing from my previous district that I missed the most, it would be the amicable relationship between the district admin and our teachers union. Can't you see that we are actually fighting for the same outcome, which is the best education for our kids? Can't you see that our working conditions as teachers are equal to children's learning conditions? Please do better, GRPS. I am so grateful to be here. Please don't continue to push us away. Thank you.
Tanya Ettinger, followed by Elise Horak.
I'm Tanya Ettinger. I teach at North Park, and it's really late, and I'm really tired, and I didn't have any planning time today, and I won't have any planning time tomorrow, and in fact, I won't have planning time till 2:50 on Wednesday, which is pretty normal. But the good news is I'm nervous to talk really fast, so I'll be done so quick. I have been a highly effective teacher multiple times, which is cool and all that, because then you don't have to go through your evaluation. It also means people always want you to take on student teachers and teacher apprentices and all those other things, so I take on a lot of those from Grand Valley, from Aquinas, from so many GRCC students, and I can't convince any of them to take a job in GRPS. I couldn't convince my own daughters who graduated from GRPS that they even wanted to be teachers because they see how teachers are treated so poorly. And some of y'all know my daughters, you have heard from my daughters, they're amazing. These young people that I work with from the universities, they're such good teachers, and other people are benefiting from them. The other thing that I get to do a lot is mentor young teachers, which is great. I put all this time into them, you pay me for that, it's a pittance, but you pay me for that, which acknowledges that it's valuable. And then they leave because they can't handle it as new teachers for all the reasons that have already been said tonight. So all that to say, I'm doing what I can do, and that's all that I can do. So now I need you to do what you can do so that these people that I'm pouring my life into, not just my students, but the future, they also can do what we all need them to do. Thank you.
Elise Horak, followed by Grace Heisinger.
Good evening. My name is Elise Horak and I teach at CA Frost Middle High. Teaching at CA Frost is my dream job. I love my colleagues, I love our families, and most of all, I love our kids. I love watching a 9th grader who used to skip every class, climb into our stream with a net to collect macroinvertebrates. I love reading the pages of backstory 8th graders write about their element superheroes. I love when the 7th grade boys show up feeling sharp with a fresh haircut on picture day. I love when a 10th grader who used to sleep through class cries and hugs his teachers on the last day of school because he finally feels loved. We are truly a family at CA Frost, but as you've heard earlier today, our family is shrinking. After our principal announced he was leaving for another district, 2 other teachers left this summer. All 3 of those people love CA Frost and never would have left if not for the bigger problems in this district. And when good teachers leave, families follow them. One of my former colleagues left because she couldn't afford to support her family. I make around $55,000 today, which is the same as I did a decade ago in another district before I got my master's degree. Except because of inflation, that money now has the buying power of only $41,000. So essentially, I make over $10,000 less than I did when I was 23. We are not asking for anything extravagant, like say $280,000. We are asking to at least keep up with inflation so teachers don't take a pay cut every single year. We are asking for you to help us afford to stay with the kids we love. It takes an incredible amount of privilege to afford to work at GRPS. Because of my own privilege, my home family can afford for me to stay with my Frost family for now, but we won't be able to for another decade, and that reality breaks my heart. If you want to put students first, you have to support the teachers who love them and spend our days nurturing them. Teachers are angry. We are angry, we love our kids, and we want to stay with them, and if we didn't, we'd already be working in a neighboring district for an extra $10,000 or $16,000. We are here because we want to save GRPS. If you truly can't afford to help me stay, we are here because we want to save GRPS. I would love to retire from CA Frost. Please help me afford to stay. Thank you.
Grace Heisinger, followed by Joe O'Malley.
Hi, my name is Grace Heisinger, and I teach 6th grade math at Riverside Middle School. First, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear all of these wonderful public comments. I am hopeful that through this dialogue, perhaps there will be a better understanding of the teachers' needs so that we can finally come to a contract that we are satisfied with. I wanted to address the board with the claim that classrooms are adequately supplied with resources for student learning and for teachers to teach. Now, this is my first full year as a teacher, and last year I started halfway through the year replacing an Elevate teacher. I came into a classroom that was lacking a great deal of materials and was provided with very few supplies. Thankfully, my mom is a teacher herself and was able to share with me many of the resources she has collected throughout the years in order to get me started. However, that was not enough. This summer, I put together an Amazon wish list and sent it out to my aunts, my uncles, grandparents, and friends in hopes of their willingness to support my efforts to supply my classroom with the things that I needed to make my classroom practical, engaging, and rewarding. I bought a pencil sharpener for my classroom in the spring of last year because there was no sharpener provided by the school. I sprung for the high-end one at $30. Unfortunately, within the first 2 weeks of this school year, a fight broke out in my classroom and the students broke it. So then, I had to buy another one, $60 down the drain. I have supplied a lot of my own stuff to my classroom: expo markers, candy, pens, colored pencils, pencil boxes, and more. I was also only given I was supposed to be given 16 Chromebooks. I was only given 6 Chromebooks at the beginning of the school year.
Time.
Dang
That's
it.
time.
Please do better for our teachers and our students. Thank you
Joe
so much.
O'Malley, followed by Chris Pelton.
I'm Joe O'Malley. I teach at Ottawa for the second time around. I'm not here for myself. I won't be doing this a lot longer. I'm here for my colleagues, my young colleagues, who I see daily pour their heart and soul into their job. They love the kids, they love the job, and I also hear them, and it's not like they're whining, but I do hear them worried about paying bills, okay? And they should not have to worry about paying bills. I know there are other situations that come into play with the money for the district has, but at the end of the day, you are the ones who determine their pay. All right, there are other people to blame, and it is a shame, but when you go to bed at night, I wonder if you feel any shame. Thank you.
Chris Pelton, followed by Olivia Rodriguez. Chris Pelton. Olivia Rodriguez. Renee Taylor. Followed by Commissioner Robert Womack.
Hello, my name is Renee Taylor, and this is year 25. I teach second grade at Brookside. I got a lot to say. GRPS prides itself on being equity focused on their strategic plan. However, teacher pay is grossly inequitable compared with other Kent County districts. We have the hardest working teachers in West Michigan. Someone told me not to say that because it would create division, but other districts know that and they love hiring us. People send their kids to schools because of the teachers. Teachers are the face of the school district. The bulk of district resources should be directed to teachers and classrooms. Administration loves to say that we do what's best for scholars. It's best for scholars for schools to be fully staffed with certified teachers, not subs for extended periods of time. It's best for scholars to have a teacher who is not stressed out and can pay their bills on a salary that is competitive with surrounding districts. It's best for scholars and families to know who their teachers are year after year and to have consistency in instruction. It's best for scholars to have services that are on their IEPs. It's best for scholars and staff to work in buildings where the culture is healthy. I know work around district culture has been started, but the district's toxic culture of fear, retribution, and weaponizing the evaluation process is alive and well. What you witnessed last week was a portion of how frustrated, angry, and dissatisfied staff has been for years. I am certain that you don't understand how difficult our work is. If you knew, negotiations wouldn't take 16 months and we would not be hemorrhaging teachers. Thank you.
Commissioner Robert Womack, followed by...
Thank you very much. Feels good to stretch my legs, and everybody else been sitting. So being a Grand Rapids public school student myself that graduated here, I just want to ask all the teachers to stand up, please. I want to thank you for all the teachers I never had a chance to thank. And everybody in here stand up, including the board, and give them a standing ovation that they deserve. If you love education, stand up and give our teachers that standing ovation that they deserve. I had a few seconds to fit that in. Thank you. I had a few seconds to fit that in because I didn't have to address profanity, and I'm just very happy that everybody has expressed themselves because what they're expressing is so important. I don't beat up on the board or the superintendent because I know that you inherited the Titanic. When you ran, you didn't know what you were getting into, but we have to say the Titanic because our kids are at the bottom of that Titanic. You inherited a school board that had already privatized busing and support systems for our teachers. You inherited a school system that depleted our City League sports team. for self. You inherited a school that had people working at the school or on the school board that was also taking money from people that were promoting school vouchers. That's what you walked into. But the time has come that we must understand our teachers come first. If you fail one teacher, you fail 30 kids. If you fail one teacher, it's 30 kids. If you fail 30 teachers, you fail 300 kids. If we fail, and I say we, the school board and the government, don't let us off the hook. The state budget for education is always late because they don't value education. But it's never late when politicians need a raise.
That's time.
That's time. Thank you.
That's my time. If you fail 300 teachers, you fail 9,000 kids. If you fail 9,000 kids, you fail a community.
That's
10% raise by any means necessary. Thank you.
John Vandenheuvel, followed by Amy Paul.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Roby. My name is John Vandenheuvel, and I teach 7th and 8th grade social studies at City High Middle School. I spoke last year on teacher pay, so I'm here for the same thing but a little bit different. So I'm confused, though, as how the district is closing buildings, eliminating positions, and still having a budget deficit when we've had surpluses in the past. How are we projecting a deficit whenever teacher pay isn't going up? Teacher pay has not gone up meaningfully, and an average increase of 4.5% would really only affect the overall budget by maybe 2, maybe 3%. So how are these budget deficits in existence whenever costs have not risen meaningfully? So I completely doubt the district's financial responsibility and ability to manage. We see administrative staff getting high single-digit to low double-digit raises while we remain the same. GRPS projects a budget deficit this year, where in previous years they have had large surpluses, going up to $40 million. It's almost as if the deficit was created in order to get leverage and bargaining for this year. I feel like the district is in shambles. We have had constant issues with our paychecks, constant issues with the district not respecting our time and only worrying about the bottom line so that they can reward themselves for doing such a great job to getting graduation rates up while students are suffering in success for career and college readiness. Right? We can all sit behind and say, oh, every student can graduate as long as we give them the E-Star or get them on the E-2020. We can get them to graduate, but they're not ready. They're reading at 2nd and 3rd grade levels as seniors and juniors. I did my student teaching at UPrep just 3 years ago and asked my former mentor teacher, oh, who's up on the 3rd floor these days? Is anyone still there? Not a single name of the 10 teachers on that 3rd floor did I recognize.
That's time.
But overall, I believe that the district needs to come to the negotiation table in good faith. Every day that we don't have a contract is disrespecting us. Thank you.
Amy Paul, followed by Danny Kraft.
Hello, my name is Amy Paul, and I am the E-Lab teacher at C.A. Frost Elementary and a parent of 2 GRPS students. To be honest, I don't want to be here right now. I'd rather be at home with my family, helping with homework, helping eat dinner together, or putting my children to bed. But I'm here because I feel I have to be. I love my school, students, the staff I work with, and I care deeply about the families we serve. But the truth is, the low pay is making it incredibly hard to stay. I didn't become an educator for the money. None of us did. But when your paycheck doesn't cover the rising cost of living, when the health cost of health insurance goes up, and when you're forced to consider leaving a job you love just to support your own family, something is broken. Last year, I made less money than the previous year due to the steady increase in insurance premiums and the cost of living. No profession should expect its employees to make less money each year for doing the same hard work, and certainly not education, where we're entrusted with preparing the future. And it's not just about pay, it's about trust. Teachers are trained professionals. We know our students, we know what they need, but we're often micromanaged or buried under mandates from people who've never stepped foot in our classrooms. If we truly want the best for kids, we have to trust the people who work with them every single day. And finally, respect. Respect isn't just saying nice things during Teacher Appreciation Week. It's listening to us, involving us in decisions, providing us with the calendar for the year, and treating us like the experts we are. I didn't want to be away from my family tonight, nor did I want to last Monday, but I'm here because I care too much to stay silent. Our students deserve teachers who can afford to stay in this profession, not those forced out by burnout or financial hardship.
That's time.
Danny Kraft. Okay. Board members, we're at that 9:30 mark, so I need a motion to.
A student.
We just have to vote to extend the meeting past 9:30 as part of our policy.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the meeting past 9:30 p.m.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will continue with our meeting. I'm sorry, did you say there's a student that filled out a card? What's the name? Harper, come on up.
Hello, my name is Harper Vanderzalen. First off, and I know last meeting we made it pretty clear we were mad, but isn't it pretty disrespectful to walk out during public comment? Isn't it pretty disrespectful looking down at your phones while our community members are talking to you? You said you won't tolerate disrespect, so we won't either. I want you to all, sorry, I'm nervous, to look me in the face. I want you all to give me all your attention and listen very clearly to these words. Raise our teachers' pay. I never want to talk at these board meetings, but I need you to listen to us. We are literally telling you what we need while you debate whether to adjourn the meeting for over half an hour. And also, hey, do you think we should raise teachers' pay? I should be at home right now. I don't like talking at these board meetings. Instead, I'm here. I'm begging you to pay my teachers more, and live streaming this meeting because GRPS refuses to do it. Thank you.
Danny Kraft is not here, correct? Ivan Diaz, followed by Wendy Winston.
Hello, my name is Wendy Winston, and I'll skip all the greetings so that I can use my time. Grand Rapids Public Schools is an incredible school district. I live in Grand Rapids, and I love it. That is why I have been fighting for 25 years to help make it better. And most of the people on the stage and in this room know that. I'm proud to be an educator in Grand Rapids Public Schools. Our students are amazing. They're empathetic, creative, fun, and many have great senses of humor.
I love the work that I do. I really enjoy working with my students and their caregivers. My colleagues are some of the most amazing human beings I've ever known, and several of them brought tears to my eyes tonight. People that I work with very closely. They pour everything into their work. This work is difficult. And I know some of you up there know, because you've worked in schools and you've worked with students. You know how exhausting it is. You know how difficult it is. Sometimes I'm so exhausted after students are dismissed that I can't grade papers, respond to emails, or contact parents. I'm just brain dead. I dream about teaching. I have teaching nightmares, and probably a lot of people in this room do too. I'm not complaining, I'm just highlighting that every educator in this room, every educator in this district is all in for GRPS. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. They're all in for GRPS until they're not.
Kara Shore, followed by Bethany DeBlacy.
Y'all look tired, and some of you are in your first year. My name is Kara Shower. My children previously attended GRPS. This is the first year I have no kids here, and they're still in elementary. We had to leave for safety reasons, because of staffing upheaval, because my kids' 504s couldn't be accommodated because there weren't enough staff in the building. It sucks. Since being in a new district with high staff retention rates, with teachers with more adequate planning time and appropriate support and classroom resources, I have wildly different children. They're healthier, they're happier, they're better educated because they can focus when they're at school. They're less anxious and they're more empowered. I hate that. Every kid in this district should be in a building that empowers them and enables them in that exact same way. We should not have to cross into the East Grand Rapids or into Kentwood or any of the other myriad of buildings here. We have options, and we have to choose what's best for our kids. We want it to be here. 3 years ago, I started regularly attending these board meetings. Nothing's really changed. The same teachers are fighting. The same board members are listening. The same ones are not. How did we get here to this place where you have hundreds of teachers showing up, begging you for dignity and for respect? As you go through these contract negotiations, I ask that you figure out where and why trust broke down and what you need to do to restore it. This is not just about money. This is about humanity and our future. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bethany DeBlay, and I am a parent, an aunt, and a neighbor of many GRPS students. And I attended last week's meeting without planning to speak, but after it was rescheduled or extended, I decided that I really want to add my voice to this very large chorus of people who are fully in support of increasing teacher pay. I have my own stories too of the amazing impact GRPS teachers and coaches have had on my family, but I can't implore you any more than they have. I do want to tell you what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that you are going to do something really big. I am hoping that you are ready to do something so dramatic, so obviously in favor of our staff, that you are going to blow everyone in this room and our entire community away. I am hoping that you are going to take such a big, bold, dramatic action that is way beyond bringing teacher pay to average or what, like something big that makes us the destination district that we ought to be, and you are going to leave us all speechless. Thank you.
Justin Walcott, followed by Tom Niebor.
I can sit here and tell you that, like, I've been a businessman. I am a lawyer. I don't need to teach. I came to teach. And I shouldn't have to be the solo dad of 2 teenage boys and have take-home pay that is 2/3 of what it would cost me to rent a 3-bedroom apartment. That's it. If I had an apartment, if I could afford an apartment with a doctor's degree, same degree as many of the people in the administration who are making 5 times as much as we are, and we can't even afford an apartment. But what's even more amazing is when I was a lawyer, practicing in Los Angeles, one of my greatest experiences was going to a mediation with a judge, and we showed up prepared because we respected the judge and we respected our clients and their clients. When the mediation on the other side didn't show up with somebody who had the authority to make decisions at a mediation, the judge fined them $1,000 for every minute that he wasted. His time was wasted because they would not put someone in the room who could make decisions and close this out. I challenge the board to start fining your administrators for not putting people in the room who can make decisions. We need to get this done. It is disgusting.
Tom Niebor, followed by Yvonne Malara.
Hello, my name is Thomas Niebor, he, him, and I am the secretary for the Grand Rapids branch of the IWW, the Industrial Workers of the World, and I am here in solidarity with my fellow workers. Thank you, President Trustee Buskick, for that soliloquy on the opaque nature of the freedom of speech. However, I believe that would have sounded much more at place at some private school for repressed rich kids. But, benefit of the doubt, maybe we missed some important context from your secret meeting. I first heard about the issues plaguing GRPS from my cousin. She was a high school math teacher for GRPS. I say was because she quit a few years ago due to all the things that people have already said. And the extreme ease of finding a higher payer job with significantly easier workload and better benefits. Seems like things have changed, but not for the better. This has been a long time coming. You have underpaid your teachers for decades. You have special ed teachers that are so understaffed that it is literally impossible to provide the instruction and support that is required by law for your most vulnerable students. Your elementary schools have so few staff that there have been instances of students that are running into the street and community members are stepping in to save them. And your teachers work late into the night because admin can't get them planning time. Commissioner Walmack's Titanic metaphor was apt. It's so bad, principals are abandoning ship. The only reason your schools are even functioning is because of your teachers, and they're bailing like mad. Friends, last week was nothing. Once the parents of your students realize this board is silencing the very serious concerns for basic student safety due to your callous leadership and constant belittling of the teachers' needs, you're gonna need a bigger auditorium. Supported teachers make safe schools. If you believe this, and you respect what your teachers have said today, then please publicly commit to an amended budget with a fair contract by November. Thank you.
Yvonne Millara, followed by Nicole Notorio Risk.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Notario Risk. I'm the parent of a 2nd and 5th grader at GRPS. Speaking today in support of increased wages for our GRPS teachers. Our teachers are amazing and deserve a wage that allows them to have a strong quality of life. My son's teacher had to have a second job as a barista at Starbucks on top of his full-time teaching job, managing a full mixed grade classroom with no teaching or student assistance in sight. At the end of the school year, he finally left to take a job for a significant increase in salary at Detroit Public Schools. I can appreciate the pressures and considerations administrators face at the district level. I was initially excited about the transformation plan in hopes that it could fully staff our buildings and get teachers and students the stability and support they need. However, I've become extremely disheartened to see many of those plans now being delayed or pulled back. I do not believe new modern buildings will solve any of the enrollment, recruitment, and retention issues in this district. The classrooms inside aren't led by qualified teachers who feel respected and valued by their district. This district loves to communicate innovation and wins. We have an opportunity here to be a regional leader in how teacher compensation could be turned around, ultimately leading to a more stable and successful school district. That would be a victory worth sharing. Thank you.
Scott Urbanowski.
Good evening, Scott Urbanowski, proud member of the National Writers Union as well as Pride at Work, and I am here to stand in solidarity with my union siblings in the GREA. Now, I actually live in the Kentwood Public School District. In fact, I'm an East Kentwood High School graduate, and I'm proud of the education that I received. And let me tell you, I agree with what's been said tonight that your scholars, GRPS scholars, deserve a high quality education. No matter where you are, and our educators that you see behind me, they are the ones making it happen. So here's what I want you to think about. What do you want your legacy to be? You've heard the pain. You've heard the frustration from people of all ages, both educators, students, members of the community. Do you want that to be your legacy? I hope not, and I can't imagine any of you do. So my ask of you is this. Do you want that to be your legacy, or do you want it to be your legacy that you helped increase teacher pay? That you made sure that our educators are paid what they deserve? And that your scholars, that the scholars that these individuals work with every single day of the school year, do you want it to be your legacy that you helped make them, you helped retain them, and you helped make these scholars' education the best that it can possibly be? Because that's going to be your legacy, not just now, but years and decades into the future when these scholars go on to make a positive difference, not just in West Michigan, but all around the world. And I look forward to seeing them make that difference thanks to these educators behind me.
Emily Jendrikovs. Micah Perkins. Eunice Lagrone.
Good evening, board members. I'm Eunice Lagrone, a parent, grandparent, an aunt for my kids that are in GRPS. I want to speak on behalf of the teachers. What I've noticed over the years is the lack of teachers the qualified teachers that we have. We have a lot of subs sometimes. And I would like to see where my kids, my grandkids, have teachers that they can trust, that they see every day to learn. And if we care about our students, and like we say we do, I think these teachers deserve a better pay than what they're having. We have qualified teachers that are not only qualified, but they are committed teachers that they are at the school, also our principal. I volunteer at Burton, and I've been volunteering for years. And every day that I go to school, I see the hard work that these teachers are putting in. I see the time that they're putting in. But as a parent and a grandparent, I feel real bad for our teachers who are doing so much work, who staying sometimes later than they should just to help our students. I think it's a shame that the pay that they're getting is not helping them. Some of them might have to even sell their homes. That's how bad it is. I feel right now that consider the cost of living is going up, but their pay is going down. Don't just hear us, but do something about what is being said. Give the teachers the pay they deserve. Thank you.
Kate Osborne, followed by James Rex. Thank you. James Rex, followed by Celine Turan.
Good evening. My name is James Rex. I'm the proud parent of a third grader and a kindergartner who attends CA Frost. Standing here today feels like a full circle moment for me. You see, 15 years ago, I was hired to teach high school math here in GRPS. In fact, in this very building. And as I started my teaching career, I was fortunate enough to be mentored by some wonderful educators. They were passionate about teaching and learning, knowledgeable about content and pedagogy, and most importantly, they cared deeply for our students. Unfortunately, after 4 years of teaching, a harsh reality was setting in. My wife and I wanted to start our own family, but simply couldn't afford it. GRPS was one of the lowest paying districts, and on top of that, I had been frozen on step 1 for all of my years. When I was recruited by another former GRPS teacher to apply for an open position in another urban district, I applied and took that job along with the 40% raise so that I could support my own family. It broke my heart to leave, but I had no choice. Since I left the district in 2015, I watched many of the exceptional educators I worked alongside leave the district for similar reasons. The issue of compensation and teacher retention has been an ongoing problem for years. And while I know this challenge is one the board and administration inherited, I know we can do better. We must do better. Compared to my GRPS counterparts with similar experience in education, I make significantly more. If my district can find the money to compensate teachers, then this district can too. And it's time to make it a priority. I'll end with this. As I dropped my son off at kindergarten on his first day of school, just a few years ago, I watched as Ms. Colleen Pitzer skillfully swooped in to help my crying child. I was overwhelmed with gratitude for her. And I'll never forget how patiently and empathetically she interacted with him and made him feel valued. I think it's about time this district show how much they value their teachers with their actions and compensate them for the amazing work they do each day. When you compensate teachers, you enrich the learning for all children. Thank you.
Okay, Celine Turan. The first point I want to make, a couple speakers ago, you saw all of these educators stand. All of these educators will also still be at work tomorrow morning, a lot of us starting at 7:40 a.m. It is almost now 10 p.m. 7:40 start time for the students. We're there way before that. This is how bad and how much we are begging you to help us. Moving on. There are 3 main reasons teachers and certified professional staff leave GRPS for another district. 1, they can earn more in every other district in the county. 2, they're giving much more respect. And 3, they have much less stress. I could talk about pay for hours, why we deserve a higher salary, who got the raise when, and who has a pay freeze and who doesn't. But salary isn't the only issue when it comes to pay. So many people have to fight tooth and nail for their pay when completing additional work. This leads to the second reason, respect. In other districts, board of education members and top administrators, including superintendents, know, understand, and follow laws such as Open Meetings Act. They do not then chastise their educators and public for being the issue for the chaos, when the board themselves are the one in violation. Another point to respect is that teachers in other districts are believed when they do additional work. They're given the pay when they do this work. They don't have to jump through 6 hoops, 6 people to get paid. Teachers are treated as professionals. They are trusted to have professional learning committees run by the professionals, the teachers themselves. The most simple example of respect given from other districts is their pay. Lastly, teachers are less stressed in other districts. An easy example of this is that they don't have to be at these board meetings begging for the basics. They don't spend their Monday nights explaining the wrongs and mistreatments they face. Teachers in other districts aren't expected to bring students to speed and learning because their current just spent 3 years without a certified teacher. If you could be paid more, given more respect, have less stress, wouldn't you leave too?
Javante Tubbs, followed by Nicholas Gerstenlauer. Javante Tubbs. Okay. Nicholas, you can go ahead.
I'll do my best to be coherent. Forgive me. I was on my way to the meeting last week, and I remember seeing a kid in the street, and I didn't know the kid, but I remember recognizing the feeling of how familiar it is to see a kid here in GRPS and recognize him as a kid that could be my student. And as a teacher, now having been a GRPS teacher here in this building for 4 years, I feel like I have 150 kids. I have 150 kids. And I did the math. I work outside of my teaching of 7.5 hours a day. I work about 3 hours extra a day. So it's like 55 hours a week where I'm getting paid for like 30, 35 of them. And I realize more than ever how much better I can do if I go home and I put more time into my job. But the problem with being a teacher in GRPS is that the most irresponsible thing you can do is go home and not work a different job because, like Kelsey Bobbledike said, I think she was about 3rd or 4th speaker tonight, the money, the stress that we have with every expense, it puts our living at such razor thin margins that we have to work another job. Most of us here, most of my coworkers in this building are working another job. This is the first time, this past month is the first time in 5 years between this building and Alger where I worked, where I have not worked 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. And money is terrible. My car smells it's gonna blow up and I don't know what I'm gonna do when it does. And that's all I wanted to say. This is really hard. Please give us more money.
Okay, I believe that concludes our public comment for this evening. Marta, I did call you earlier. You can come on up, that's fine. Is there anybody else that was on the list from last week? Okay, go ahead, Marta.
Thank you so much. It's my daughter's birthday today, so I had to go home and celebrate her. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me now. I am a mom of 2 GRPS students. I'm a frequent attender of meetings and have been involved in supporting and organizing alongside parents in the community to lift up GRPS even before my kids started school. I wanted to touch on a few things. One, I think the sentiments have already been shared on the urgent need for a fair contract, but I want to center it also in the urgent need to deal with a fair contract within also the realm of the Eureka group report, which speaks to some of the culture issues that people have been speaking to about fear of retaliation, challenges, having issues addressed, and that sort of thing. Things that I've noticed also as a parent that's been involved alongside the district. I think what we really need is the board to publicly commit that they are going to work and do whatever they can to get an amended budget by the end of November, including a fair contract. So that's just a call in to any board member that's willing to publicly commit to doing that. That means that you're going to have to push the district for what different budgets would have to look like and push for that immediately, just to underscore the work that needs to be built into that kind of commitment. Second, let's see, I don't know how much time I have left, but I also want to speak to the having the right way to advocate. I think that it's really important that we speak from our hearts. I've heard so many people get emotional, get angry, and that is all understandable. And I also want you to recognize that we are all here because we're hurting, and we haven't felt like we've been heard for years. As people have said before, yes, these are problems that you've inherited, but we need you to step up. Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on. I do not have any further board announcements or president announcements for tonight. So superintendent comments. Do you have any comments?
I want to be respectful of people's time. I know it's 10 o'clock, and so I will just say very quickly, people do hear, and I know that a lot of our audience members have gone home. It is never intended to be an us versus you, or an us, the teachers against administration. I was a teacher. I know what you're speaking of. We want to be able to have what is fair. We also are dealing with some other variables that impact our ability to move the way in which we would like to. So even in this discourse, and I think discourse, and I've said this several times, discourse is always okay. When it devolves to disrespectful conversation where we cannot listen to one another, that is not helpful for our district, that's not helpful for our staff, that is not helpful for our relationships, and it's certainly not helpful for our children. And so my hope is that as we continue to walk down this path, that we can remind one another the humanity that we all have, because we all have humanity.
Thank you. Okay, board member comments, starting with Trustee Moreno.
Just want to thank everyone, colleagues, everyone in the crowd tonight who showed up. One of my favorite moments of tonight, outside of all of the really great comments, was how organized y'all were. Y'all were like clapping and doing the most teacher moment ever to quiet down. And I know the vibe from last week to the vibe for today is so much different. So I really appreciate all the additional conversations I know my colleagues had. I know y'all had to kind of prepare to create a space that was a little bit different. That energy was a little bit different. So I really appreciate that additional. Y'all, we all heard each other. So I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm also really grateful to spend time with my colleague, Ari. We were at a conference last week while trying to have conversations with each of you and with folks in the crowd. And I really appreciated just kind of getting to know you differently. I knew we had a relationship before, but I just feel so lucky to get to know you a little bit differently. And I can't wait to share our learnings with our colleagues in our work session. Oh, maybe some of that too, I don't know. Yeah, I do miss, I am a little bummed, and I look forward how we build a deeper culture with our crowd, with each other, to allow our scholars to be back with us. Definitely a missed voice. I appreciate the young folks who were here today to speak their piece, but not having our board scholars here made me a little sad today.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yeah. So, it's been a long day. I'm tired and I apologize. Not as peppy as I could be. But, so the first thing I want to start off by saying is, so yeah, last week, Monday, you know, I personally didn't hear some things that were then later shared with me. But one thing that I want to just get straight with everyone is there's no place for racism. There's no place for threatening language in this work. And so I just want to get that just straight. That being said, that's a whole different issue than teachers advocating for better pay. And I hope we all recognize that. Secondly is, you know, I agree with someone that said, you know, we're telling you what to do, so listen and then do it. And, you know, just a small way that I did it today is we got multiple emails about people being on their phones, people being on their laptops. So I did put my laptop away and I wrote all these notes. I got all these notes with pen and paper because, thank you. You know, I'm trying to be intentional, right? And so sometimes it takes that little step of, okay, we heard, right? And we all our board colleagues got that same email, and I even said, hey, maybe we should have one person document notes, whatever, right? And I understand folks are comfortable with their own technology, their own thing that they do, but that's just one way that I want to show that I'm trying to listen. Finally, I have so much stuff that I wrote down that I wanted to say, but I think we're all just tired, and I just want to keep it short. But I really don't think that our educators, any of our employees should have to work a second job. Maybe if you want to make some extra money, sure, go work a side hustle, but that shouldn't be a requirement to pay your bills and to keep surviving out here. And education is already wildly inequitable in so many ways, right? The pay, the expectations. I wrote down how many ways it's inequitable, but I don't have to share all that, right? The funding, we all see how it's being held up at the state level. And so while there are inequities that exist in our funding and everything that I just mentioned, we still have to do more with what we've got. And that includes paying our teachers more. And so I'm in support of that. I always have been, and I'm gonna just continue to make what we have work. And I hope, I wanna say I hope, but I know that a lot of our colleagues, and you don't see all of the conversations that happen behind the scenes because we just can't speak about that in public, right? I wish, I don't wish we could because not everyone wants their business out there, but just know that there's a lot of folks advocating for teachers more than you know.
Mm-hmm. VP Wade?
I wrote down notes too, Jose.
Good job.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. I sat here, and we have sat here many meetings and have heard hundreds of minutes of public comment. And tonight I heard put instruction first, 180 vacancies. I heard special education teacher shortage. I heard there's a band and choir festival, radical change. I heard teachers left for 19% raises. Teacher retention must be our highest priority. I heard teachers are trained and prepared to leave and are leaving our district. I heard about trauma bonding. I heard about bonding over the hard work. I heard invest in kids ballot initiatives, losing students. I heard pray for our schools. And I heard that the hardest working teachers in West Michigan are in GRPS. You are not a broken record. You are educators who want more, who want better, and you deserve that. I totally believe that. I also want to remind our community that we have a fiscal responsibility. Our oath and our job is to be fiscally responsible over this district. And we take that very seriously. Every sentence in our moral imperative statement begins with every scholar. This means we have a fiscal and moral responsibility to make decisions that impact every scholar. This also means that includes prioritizing many of the things we heard here tonight. This is hard work, it's hard work, and I know that this board has come forth to do the hard work. That's it, thank you.
Trustee Williams?
No comment.
Trustee Williamson?
Thank you. I don't normally make comment, but tonight I do. We are in a trust deficit. Some staff members and families do not trust the district. Some administrators do not trust school board members. Everyone else, including our students, are left wondering what happens and what is happening. When people do not know what is happening or what to believe, fear pervades. Fear for their livelihoods, fear for their children. If we are to fix this trust deficit, we must all take a step towards each other. We all have a responsibility to do more. We cannot wait for the other person to trust us first. This is my responsibility as a school board member. I was entrusted by the public to do this work on your behalf, and I recognize I cannot wait for others to step towards me. I must have grace and understand that not every error is a sign of bad intent or corruption. I must understand that others may not have all the information, and it is my responsibility to share the plan and the process and the progress we are making. I must understand that this is mutual, that just as I ask for trust, I must reciprocate that trust. Public education is the cornerstone of democracy. There is an implicit promise to every child that walks through the doors of our schools that they are welcome to participate in the life of our community, that no matter who they are or where they come from, what they have, they all have the right to learn and grow and be loved like every other child. That is a big promise, but I truly believe that everyone here believes in that promise. We have heard last week and here tonight from teachers about what they need and expect from their next contract. I know they believe in that promise too. That is why they come here and comment. And I am thankful for all those teachers, the overwhelming majority, who recognize we cannot even begin to work towards that promise until we all restore trust together. We, all of us who live and work in the city, are the inheritors of circumstance in a school district with challenges that are not new. There were good and bad decisions made by imperfect people trying to respond as best they could to the circumstances they were faced with, just as we are doing now. Recognizing this history, we cannot resign ourselves to it. We cannot accept that we must continue on the same course with the same thinking just because that's the way it's always been. We cannot be trapped by this history and spend valuable time relitigating it. But we must also recognize that this history cannot be ignored. There are profound changes needed to ensure that GRPS lives up to the promise of public education. We must find a way to pay educators more, while also finding a way to realign other district operations and reduce other costs. We must find a way to reduce overhead costs for a district that is not the same size it was 30 years ago. We must have more explanation and education for the general public as we navigate these changes. Yet these changes do not happen overnight. These changes take time. Last week's meeting reflects this growing trust deficit. We cannot achieve any of these things we want until public trust is restored. Tonight represents growth. Let us continue stepping towards each other to renew that trust. Thank you.
Trustee Davis?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all of the board for the work and effort that you put in. I want to thank the public for coming out and making this comment. And I just want to challenge us as we continue to do our work to make sure that more of it is visible and that the community can feel the momentum that I feel like we're trying to create.
Trustee Kilpatrick?
No comments.
Trustee Melton?
Yeah, I do just have a quick comment. And the comment time is always such a strange thing because we're in public, but we're also talking to each other. So I just want to make this comment specifically to my fellow trustees. We have this tension that's really difficult. in that, we've heard these wonderful things about our district, and I can attest myself. My own son called me today from college and is so excited. He's in a, oh man, I can't remember the type of physics. It's this really high level physics class, and he's just thriving, and a lot of that is attributed to Shawmut Hills and to museum school. And we've heard about how amazing staff is and how coveted they are by other districts, and I've seen that in action. But I also came into this district 25 years ago, and there was already a disconnect between what was happening in the classroom and what was needed in the classroom. And so that disconnect continues to this day. I had a neighbor bring over an advertisement she found in her basement from 20 years ago. I shared this with Ms. Williams. And it was asking, 20 years ago, it was a fundraiser asking for money from our city to help clean and upgrade our facilities. And we're here still struggling with facilities, and facilities that are fair for all kids. So this tension between the wonderfulness that is our district, the park visits and all the things we heard about today, and the fact that we have not responded to the needs of our community in decades. So what our charge is, we've looked for the last 9 months at why we don't have enough funds, really, to pay our teachers as much as they're worth, which is even more than they're asking for. Because we have this string pile, and when we pull one end, it yanks the other. And we know now from looking at audits and outside observers and the budget itself and rethinking the budget, we know there's no hidden pile of string in our current system. So like many of you just mentioned, that means our system has to be reevaluated. And so that is our job, not the operations, which a lot of people think is our job, it's not. But the governance, the direction that we set has to be done now, because the way we're going is not sustainable, and we're proving it year after year. So I would just say to my board, rather than getting lost in the minutia of all of the things that, the budget's coming up again and all the things that happen month after month, we have to pause and rethink the system, or we're going to be in the same place as we were 25 years ago and as we are today.
I agree.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.